Introducing the Racekraft PT1, custom-built full chassis racing simulator. The design project, codenamed The Cage, an 80/40 extrusion chassis sitting on top of a Sigma Integrale DK2 Plus 4-point full motion actuator system. No compromises in the cockpit of the PT1 simulator. To maximize the experience, we start with the 49-inch ultra-wide monitor for the greatest field of view in a small footprint of the simulator, down to the SimuCube wheelbase that's tucked up and behind the monitors with SimCore extensions to get things out of the driving area. Everything is connected to a Cube Controls GTX steering wheel with the built-in dash and all the extra button functions available at your fingertips. Driving through the Raceworks S1 pedals, the potentiometer throttle and the 2 hydraulic pedals for brake and clutch ensures you maximize the feel underfoot, and seating yourself into an OMP HTER bucket racing seat with OMP belts connected to a G-belt tensioner to provide that extra feeling and the heightened experience while you're driving. Additional interfaces and accessories in the PT1, we have twin butt kickers, one on either side of the OMP seat, as well as a Jinx sequential shifter, the SimPush Race Logic timer to the left-hand side, a Racecraft built-in WinSim kit with Philips Hue lighting and a built-in soundbar, plus the OMP side net to finish off the experience in the PT1. The Racecraft PT1, build number 1, the ultimate in sim racing experience, combining the best products in the market with the passionate, no compromise approach that goes beyond racing simulation.
I ain't playing weak, no, I'm playing for keeps. Can't stop me, I'm a legend. I run with the crew that's making the moves. Get out of the way, we coming through. We got this, never stopping, and we won't lose. No, we can't lose. Yeah. Are you ready? Yeah. We are the legends. We are the legends. Yeah. Are you ready? We are the legends. We are the legends.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a massive night of racing for the Racecraft Simulations V8 veterans. I'm your commentator, as always, Hamish Munro, bringing you all the action here tonight for Split 2 here of Season 18 of the V8 veterans. We're out at Watkins Glen. My name is Hamish Munro, and welcome to the show. It's going to be a massive night, as mentioned. Oh, I've messed that up, actually. We'll have to take that one away for a second here. You'll have to lose the track info just for now. Figure out why that doesn't work properly. But yeah, as I said, going to be a massive night of racing here tonight. Watkins Glen, round number 5 of Season 18. We've already had a massive season so far. Of course, last time out at Charlotte, heaps of carnage, heaps of its spiciness, I guess you could say, but also some great battles on track all throughout the field, not even just at the front, but throughout all of the drivers out on track. At Okayama as well, we had a very similar situation. And also last year out at Mosport at Phillip Island, we had some great racing, and it's progressing to be even better throughout this season as we go ahead. Let's bring up our track splash now here for our circuit here tonight, running the full circuit out here at Watkins Glen. Last time we came here was season 15, where we ran it without the boot, where we can see a couple of other notable places around this area. So we're up in the northeast of the US, very close actually to where Stacey Boyd lives, who's been in the chat recently here for Split 2. So she's out of Buffalo. She wouldn't be very far away from Watkins Glen. And we obviously see New York, Washington, Pittsburgh, Detroit, and Toronto as well. Well, then trickle on down to check out our mainstay of this track map here tonight. We can get a good look at how this track looks, how it has shaped up to be. This was originally a street circuit back in the day, back when it was first opened. Then it was purchased and it was made into a permanent race course. Here we can see 11 corners, although realistically it's more like 15, as they don't actually count the bus stop as any corners at all. But we started on the main straight here tonight. Then we run round into the 90 degree hairpin there for turn number 1. Up through 2, 3, and 4, the S's as they are predominantly learned, and then down towards the inner loop, also known as, the inner loop is the older layout. Sorry, I do apologise. But then we go up towards the bus stop, then around turn 5, the outer loop, and then through the chute and into the boot section for turn 6, the toe at turn 7, the heel at turn 8. Then we go up to turn 9, very, very important corner, very, very dangerous corner as well. We got to be very careful of the bump right on the apex of this corner. If you catch it wrong, it could end in disaster. We then come round turn number 10 and then into turn 11, where the actual racing line is the pit entry. So could we see some drivers get caught out by that here tonight, and possibly some people get taken out possibly at that section? Who knows? Then we're back onto the main straight. So 5.5 kilometers or 3.4 miles. It was originally up in 1950, but this layout's been used ever since the early 90s. Of course, clockwise direction. And tonight we're going to be doing 55 laps or 300 kilometers around this beautiful circuit. Jackos in the chat. I've tackled too many bus stops in the past 48 hours. Recently off their P3 out at Daytona for the 24-hour. Great to have you in here, Jackos. Great to have everyone else in the chat as well. Roy Clark, Will Munro, Peter Kelleher, Gary Buckland, Anita Buckland, Shane Patterson, Dave Baldock, Stacey Boyd, as I mentioned. Great to have you all here tonight. Anyone else watching out there as well? Great to have you all here and chatting with us. Now, the normal run of things, pretty much. A little bit of a catch-up, a little bit of a chat about the race tonight. We then get into the warm-up, and then we get into the racing action, the meat and potatoes of this race. So there's going to be a whole lot of action on offer for us here tonight. It's a long race, 300 Ks, 55 laps around this track. No easy feat. And don't forget, guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you are notified anytime we go live with our content across the weekend. Friday night, the Split 3 Kitchen, starting next week. Saturday night, 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time or Australian Eastern Standard Time. Split 2, so from Saturdays from now on. And then Beyond the Apex will be most likely moving to a Sunday morning show for us in Australia here. A breakfast show, I guess you could say. But yeah, so whole heap of action here to come for tonight. A heap more stuff on offer for us. What can these veterans turn on for us? What can they do to give us some spicy action around this circuit? It's all going to be on offer here tonight. Jack was saying I have my popcorn ready for the start. It could be a wild and woolly one. Drivers really need to be careful down that main straight, as I said, and even into turn 1. Now, we'll see a lot of drivers use the wide line going off the actual racing circuit, as it is the faster line. But what they need to be careful of, similar to last week out at Charlotte between turn 4 and 5, they need to be careful of their rejoin onto the track, because if they actually come on and they hit someone, it's going to be classified as an unsafe rejoin. So they're going to have to be a little bit careful, but I think the majority of the people the majority of the drivers are going to be wary of this, and they're going to be working around it to not get anyone's way and to not hurt anyone on track either. So I think, Watkins, last time we were here, we saw some big carnage. It wasn't even the full circuit last time. It was only the Cup circuit, also known as pretty much the NASCAR circuit. They run the shorter circuit without the boot on it. What can the boot bring us, though? In through the laces at turn 6, up through the toe at turn 7, and then turn 8, the heel. That Cup circuit doesn't have the challenge of the bump at turn 9. But this track does. And that could offer us something very enticing because it could mean that someone who hardly ever makes mistakes could make a very easy mistake here tonight. Maddie in the chat as well. Great to have you in here, Maddie. So let's quickly just catch up on a couple of the comments. Peter Kelleher asking when I'm going to be buying the new PT1 from Racecraft as advertised. I don't have the money, unfortunately, for the PT1, Peter. So, and William just got me a track racer rig, so I don't need to buy the PT1, unfortunately, for myself. But, you know, maybe if any of you guys are out there looking for a rig, if you're based in the West, out in WA, and you're looking for a reliable and strong rig to purchase, then that could be one to look for, especially if you've got the money, or even just contact Racecraft. They are based out at Perth Airport. Go and have a chat to them, see what they got on offer, and you might be able to walk out with a very good deal out of their warehouse as well. So a lot of stuff on offer from them. So we got about 2 minutes left of qualifying. Then we got the 5-minute warm up, and then we're going to be heading into our race here tonight. So we're trying to speed it on a little bit. We may not be very take too long tonight. Hopefully not. Gary saying Stacey had arm surgery yesterday and raced the supercar with them last night. Dedicated man. That's very dedicated. Incredibly dedicated. That is and if that's with a direct drive, that's just asking for another arm surgery, if you ask me. That is dedication right there. I don't even drive the supercar with two healthy arms, to be fair. Drove in races a little strong. Drove around is more like it. I mean, you know, one arm cruising. Hey, you know what? Why not? You know, just one arm on there. If you got the rig next to the wall, just lean the arm against the wall and then cruise on around. Why not do that? You know, because you can. So, this circuit here tonight, what do we possibly could see? I think we're almost guaranteed a safety car. You know, it doesn't really look like it, but it is a track that leads to safety cars. Just because it has so many overtaking opportunities, but those overtaking opportunities, you know, half of them are actually quite risky. You know, you can go for a move into the bus stop as long as your opponent is willing to work with you. You can go for a move into turn one as long as your opponent is willing to work with you. Same up through the S's as well. So there are a lot of chemicals at play here, and it's either going to lead to a cocktail of quality racecraft on track, or it's going to lead to a cocktail of disaster, and it's going to go by collision or non-collision to each one. You know, it's going to be a one by one basis. So, but qualifying is over. We are going to get ready to go to our warm-up session here tonight. So remembering the drivers will be out there. They'll just be hoping to get their car warmed up, practice their starts, get into a groove, and get ready for 300 Ks or 55 laps around this wonderful circuit. Toddy Duggan, the first one out on track. He's already going to cut laps. Let's get the engine sounds on so everyone can hear them. He's out there on track at the moment. Had a bit of an up and down run this season. He'll be hoping to improve upon what he's done, and he'll be hoping for a strong finish here tonight out here at Watkins. Gary Buckland out on track as well, the peanut butter cup boy. How can he do tonight? We know that he's a little bit of a secret assassin, a little bit of a, you know, a sneaky Peter sometimes. He just finds his way through the cracks and crevices and just makes his way up towards the front. Someone who's had some good pace recently, Damon Fisher. How can he do here tonight as well? Mark Houghton, we know that he's often strong. Former race winner in Split 2 as well. He could do well here tonight. Matthew Scholes, championship leader. What can he do out there out at Watkins? We know this championship fight is incredibly close between him and Poynton. How will they go in this run here tonight in trying to maximize their performances towards the end of this season? You know, we're at the halfway point now. We know that seasons of past have kind of been stories of halves where you can have someone or a couple of people dominate at the start of the season, and the second half of the season, you have someone kind of rise through the ranks and get up there, and suddenly they're winning the championship. I think the notable one for that was probably season 14 with Troy Sipple. You know, he had been having good finishes at the start of the season, but we then got to the second half of the season and he was winning races and he was always up there, and he kind of just snuck his way through, and through consistency found himself in the battle for the championship, which I think is incredibly notable, and I think we could see that from a couple of drivers this season, depending on how their finishes have been. We know that drivers like Minogue and Grumley, of course, they have the pace, and if they can get those cars qualified well, they can do well here tonight. We've seen it before from them. Who else? We know Richard Barella in the past has been somewhat of a secret assassin. He kind of just picks his way through, gets some consistent finishes, and somehow he's up there in the end. So a lot of people at play here, like a lot of parties at play as well. So it's gonna be it's gonna be very, very close. 27s or 32s. What are you referencing there, Stacey? Just so I can just so I know exactly what you're on about. I'm not sure. They're both saying, let's go Roy Clark, let one slip last week, so big things expected this race. I reckon Roy Boy, he could have a good run here tonight, although unfortunately through certain comments made, he was taken off the list of people who are allowed to be showed on the broadcast from my perspective on Thursday night. Okay, yeah, Pat has one of his cool cheers. We will show him off for once, so here he is. This is the one time I will show Roy Clark on screen, because, you know, keep the joke running, why not? Brendan Zatira, we know that he has got some pace about him. It's whether he can stay consistent here tonight. Same for Daniel Sheriffs. You know, Lorne McKee, exact same reasoning for me. They can do it. There's got to be consistent. Darren Goosey, again, another one of these little secret assassins from Old Mate and Sons. He just sneaks his way through. He's, you know, 1 week, he'll have an expected winner. And then somehow Darren Goosey will just get the win. He'll just sneak up through the field, stay clean, stay consistent, and then bam, he's right there. So he could be a strong competitor here tonight. Simon Heddersheed, he's back out there again. In fact, he's starting on pole here tonight. So he could be another one. Not on track at the moment, but he could be one to watch and to keep an eye on. We know he's got pace, former Split 1 driver. Shane Randall running in the top 5 of the championship at the moment. He's had a great run this season. Can he continue that form of progression and that form of cleanliness throughout this race and throughout the rest of the season? Only time will tell. Ed Fox, he's been kind of one of those little kind of underlying figures in here. You know, he's got pace 1 week, he's got pace the next, but then he has a bit of an unlucky break. So he's one that we could see up there, and we could see by the end of this race, he could be in the top 10, top 5, or even close to the podium. But again, it's just going to take some more consistency to really get up there. So a lot of things on the table, a lot of things are on stand here tonight for us. Have to wait and see what kind of formula is being given to us for this race here tonight. Go to Brett Fisher into the chat as well. So we'll just have to wait and see. When I'm saying this might be the straightest Roy's car will be all night, I'll have to wait and see if it is, although we're not going to be looking at him again. But regardless, ladies and gentlemen, let's check out our starting grid for tonight's race here out at Watkins Glen. Simon Heddersheed will start out of pole position, as I mentioned, with a great time of 1:45.636. He'll start just ahead of championship leader Matthew Scholes at a P2, with Matty Parker starting at a P3 for Nova Sim Sports. Peter Latham will start at a P4 here tonight ahead of returning Dave Arney at a P5 for Pacific Esports Racing. Shane Randall will then start at a P6 for Simrigs Infinity Motorsport, little qualifying for him. He'll start just ahead of Lorne McKee from Accelerate Sim Racing and current P2 in the championship Mark Poynton from Frog Leap Juiced Racing. Ed Fox will then start at a P9 here tonight for Player 1 Racing, just ahead of Troy Sybil for Quantum Peaks Performance Racing. He'll make up the top 10 tonight with Brian Minogue from SLS Racing just missing out in behind. Jim Caparonis then starts at a P12 here tonight with Toddy Duggan starting at a P13. Jason DiBattista will then start at a P14 for Hypersonic Racing just in behind. Stephen Greck will then make up our top 15 here tonight. He'll start just alongside his teammate Gary Buckland at a P16, with Sean Cullen and Scotty Weston lining up just behind them. Will Munro starts at a P19 for Simrigs Infinity Motorsport, ahead of Pacific Esports Racing's John Gallen at a P20. Roy Clark then starts at a P21 for Banter Alliance Racing, just ahead of Quantum Peaks Performance Racing's Todd Martin at a P22, with Daniel Sheriff starting at a P23 here tonight alongside his teammate Darren Goosey at a P24. P25 will then go to Damon Fisher. He will start just alongside Brendan Zatira at a P26, with Jeremy Bush and Marty Hansen lining up just in behind them. Michael Yeo will then start at a P29 for Shadow Racing, ahead of Matthew Stalls from East West Racing GMK Logistics. He'll make up the top 30 here tonight. Richard Barella will then start at a P31 for WK&P Sim Sports ahead of Wayne Shepherd at a P32, with Peter Vermey starting at a P33 for IMLT and Brett Taylor starting at a P34 for Virtual Motorsport Mentorship. Jason Dunn will then start at a P35 out of SAR. He will start just alongside EWR's Craig Healy out of P36. Rounding out our grid here tonight, we have Robert Crow starting at a P37, Stephen Grumley starting at a pit lane, Mark Houghton, Manny McMillan, Glenn Corbin and Daniel Norris make up the rest of our grid. Big thank you to our race control here tonight, Anthony Visma and Greg Favell. Without them, we cannot go racing. So, we've got about 40 seconds till we will have lights out and rearing and ready to go for our race here tonight. How can Hedesheed go off pole position? Can he get the run he needs? Or will it be a Scholes story once again? All of these questions will be answered, I'm sure, throughout the proceedings of this race, but it is going to be up to them to do their best at trying to stay as clean and consistent off this first lap. So, Hedesheed, Scholes, that is the battle off the start line. Should be getting ready to go racing now. Revs are rising. 300Ks at Watkins Glen. And we are going. Lorne McKee has stalled it off the start. This is going to be massive. Can anyone else get through? We're just trying to keep an eye on him at the moment. There's been big contact in behind. And there is everyone into the wall already. Munro's involved. So's Taylor. So's Clark. Sheriff's in there as well. And this is a massive pile up. Lap one. That right there, massive, massive damage. Roy Boy on the side of his car. Will Munro on his roof at the moment. And that is big contact early on. We see there Roy Clark on his roof. Will Munro, Will Munro on his roof. Twisting my words here. And Daniel Sheriffs, he's stuck in the wall at the moment. So these boys all stuck in the wall. Hedesheed got away nice and clean. Absolutely massive crash already off the start line. Hedesheed got that clean start that he needed. I feel like this is just going to have to be a safety car. And indeed it is. So Visma going to be coming out here. We're getting a safety car lap one. That means this is now going to push out our compulsory pit stop period here as the leader has not started lap number 2. So we'll get ready here for our Racecraft Simulation safety car period here tonight. What a wild start that was. Absolutely ballistic. Dave Bullock saying Roy Clark a lot quicker on the wheels, mate. What do you mean, Roy? I was doing my job. That was all driver's fault right there. And you can see him there still stuck, waiting for their tow as we complete lap number 1. I'm just going to have to adjust this. It's misaligned. There we go. That's better. Well, still a long way to go, though, for them here tonight. So, could be opportunity to come back. If we've already got a safety car lap 1, then it could very easily be more to come and more on offer for us later throughout this race. So, we'll just have to wait and see what occurs here tonight. So, leader has been picked up by the safety car now. And I feel like this is going to be a good opportunity for us just to go into one of our quick little Racecraft ads. We'll be back after this one. Here we can see this was the replay on board with Will. And just massive contact. Let me see. Taylor gets knocked in. That's then forced him up onto the roof. And this is the cause of it. That is what has happened. That's what's occurred from all of that. Here we are back up with the safety car. Visma in control of the field. And we're getting ready to get back under green as soon as possible. Great to have Stephen Murray in here. Split 4 according to Gary Buckland. But yeah, not a pretty one, that is for sure. But Visma leading our drivers along now. There's Matty Parker just in behind. Oh, my timing's having a bit of an issue here. It's not recognising that Hedesheed's actually leading the way. It's claiming him up the back of the field. Come on, fish yourself. Hopefully it fixes itself when they cross the line. It should do. Should fix itself because currently it's not considering Matty Scholes and Simon Hedesheed in the timing tower. So we're going to have another lap after of safety car just at the moment here. But yeah, it was a big accident, big incident, lap number 1. Unfortunate that that Lorne there appeared to have stalled his car, and then just a big Constantina down the straight. Bit of a racing incident. Yeah, that's fixed them now, so that's good. A little bit of a Constantina, of course, and I think, we've seen these sorts of things happen in racing. It almost turned into a bit of a Carl Ryan the moment. I believe it was out at Hidden Valley one year where he stalled the car, someone moved out of the way, and then straight back in the back of him, and that was the big fireball that happened. So, obviously we can't have fireballs happening in vets, in sim racing, but, it could have been, that was still pretty bad, and kind of lucky for the rest of the drivers to be able to get through that. It was definitely, this was the entree. That first lap crash was just the entree for what could be to come here tonight. Steve Murray, after seeing next week's track, this race is just the first installment. Yeah, this could be the entree for what could be coming next week out at Zandvoort. That could be an absolute carnage fest if we're not careful. So a lot of drivers are going to have to be careful that one. So Munro Clark Sheriffs have now completed their tows. They are now back in the pits, getting their cars repaired, and then they're hopefully going to be able to get back out on track. Should go probably about 2 laps down off of this. Randall and Sipple swapping a couple of positions higher up the grid at the moment. So we get to do a full lap under green. But Hedesheed still leads the way at the moment to Scholes, to Parker, to Latham, to Arnie. That's the 5. Randall, Sipple, Point, and Caperonis, Dibatito, that's the 10. But still got a little bit further to go. Still got a little bit more racing left to do here tonight. And, we're only 3 minutes into 300 Ks. Probably should have been 3 laps into this race by now, but thanks to the safety car coming out on track, we have to wait just a little bit longer. So Roy Clark, I believe, is now back out on track. He is indeed. Sheriffs and Munro hoping to get back out there before the safety car comes back around again. Reese to go into the chat, as well as Michael Quain. Good to have you both here. Could be a hectic start. Hectic start already. Could be a big, long race for these drivers here tonight if we are not careful. We got to do 300 Ks, or we go to time certainty, 2 hours, 45 minutes. It is whichever comes first here tonight. That is what is going to be the determining factor of when we are able to finish this race. Hopefully we can make the race distance. Hopefully it's not go time certain. Hopefully, we can make it all 300 Ks. Safety car pulls away. So we will now wait and or see what is going to come off this restart. Hedesheed versus Scholes versus Parker. Latham and Arnie, they're lurking in the background. Sipple, Randall, Poynton, Caperonis. Could either of these guys take advantage and make their way up the field? Great to have John Gallen here. Great to see you, sir. The safety car should have pulled into the lane. And we will get ready to go racing. On to lap 4 of 55. When will Hedesheed go? We come round turn 10. And he puts the foot down, fully floored. We are ready to go racing. Once again at Watkins Glen. Oh, sorry, that came at the wrong time. Starting lap number 4 of 55 now. Hedesheed leads the way to Skulls and Parker. Great little restart here, looking nice and clean at the moment. Hopefully we can keep it this way throughout the rest of proceedings. How are we going to go for the first time under green, down towards the bus stop. Looking at the back now of Hedesheed's car onto Skulls. What's the run like? Nice and smooth for those guys. Good to see. Hedesheed done so well so far. Did well in qualifying. Can he continue this run throughout the rest of this race? Damon Fisher apparently no one got hurt in that mess. Not bad, this sim racing stuff. Yeah, it's good. It's good. You know, that could have been a very hairy crash if that was in real life. And that's the beauty of sim racing, is we can keep on racing, keep on having a go. And these guys get to come back out on track now. And, you know, if they get 2 more safety cars, they get back onto the lead lap. So it's good for them. But Hedesheed, Skulls, Parker, that's the 3. That's the battle that's currently formed. But these guys have still got 275 odd Ks to go in this race. Get the battle in behind though. Parker versus Skulls. You see him here. You can kind of see where the bump is in the road. Just a little bit of a bump where tarmac meets tarmac. And you just, if you catch it right at the wrong angle, rear of the car just goes, you know, absolute ape shit. I know it's a little bit of a slip there, but it's a very, very dangerous. I am well, thank you, John. I hope you're well as well, mate. I hope everyone out there who is watching here tonight as well. Could be on for an absolute cracker. Hedesheed with a 1:45.819, fastest lap of this race. That, in fact, is the first lap we have now finished under green flags. Lap 5 of 55. We are now under compulsory pit stop range. The good thing for those drivers, though, who did have to tow, they would have been able to do a pit stop. Wouldn't count as compulsory, but they'd be able to just get some fuel in the car, try and change up their strategy a little bit, and hopefully just speed up their time in the pits later. We have already had a couple of people come into the pits as well. Again, just to cut down on the amount of fuel they have to put into the car later in the race. They still have to do 2 compulsories because they came in on lap 1, that being Robert Crow, Brian Minogue, Jeremy Bush, Steve Grumley, Stephen Greck, Marty Hanson, Wayne Shepherd, Brett Taylor. Brett Taylor did not come in. Mark Houghton, though, has done 2 stops. But I think he may have actually started out of the lane because he's saying that he came in on lap 1. So, but all those guys have come into the pits, apart from Taylor. He has stayed out still, and he's actually still rolling on in the background. He had an unfortunate incident running into the front of Will Munro when he was rolling backwards down the side of the catch fence. But he's still going on strong at the moment. Oh, surely someone is ordering chubby bums from the stands. We'll have to wait and see. Speaking of chubby bums, here is Jim Caperonis just ahead of Jason Dibatito. This guy's having a good little battle, buckling in behind them. Dibatito right now being the meat in this burger bun. And these chubby buns, boys, they'll be hoping to work together just to make their way up the field. We know Dibatito's had some strong performances in the past. Don't take anything away from this guy. He's had some strong runs. And again, just a little bit like Richard Borello, actually, where you may not expect him to necessarily be one of the front runners, but he has got good performances in him. He's had them happen in the past, but they may be just marred by a couple of mistakes here or there. It's a strong run. You know, he's a strong driver and just needs a strong run to prove himself. Background, Zatira and Martin having a strong battle at the moment early on in this race. Oh, Damon Fisher's off the track. And that's off at the S's. Very lucky not to collect anyone there in the rejoin. Back on track, hoping to get back up to speed. Got the lap traffic trying to make their way through now. Munro just kind of slips on past him. He lets them go. just going to try and have to... so you've got me saying, not sure about the timing being green. Oh, do you mean for best lap? I can't change that one, unfortunately. That's just for the best laps and stuff. That's a colour that I actually can't change. It's like purple for session best. I can't make adjustments for it, unfortunately. But header sheet leads the way at the moment. Actually, you know what, Steven, since you're in the chat, let's see how you're going at the moment. Had one pit stop so far. Doesn't count as compulsory. Had to start in the lane. Still with your teammate, though, at the moment with Brian. Currently trying to follow Robert Crow. Just make your way back through the field. So hopefully this can be a clean, nice run for you boys here tonight. You know you guys have had strong performances in the past. Hopefully you can get back to those good ways. Yeah, I know it's hard. I know it's hard to see the green sometimes, but it's something that I actually just can't change. Like in the actual coding of the overlays. Yeah, black is best for the numbers, just in general, but it reads green whenever someone bests their personal best lap time, like Brett Taylor's just done, or it will go purple if they've actually done the session best. But yeah, if I went back to a black background for the for overlays, it would work better, but I like the white. I think it works well. Sheet though doing well at the moment. Skulls under massive pressure from Parker in behind him here. Latham just out for a Sunday drive at the moment. He's got that popcorn ready to go. He's just hoping these guys can have a bit of a coming together. Let's go on board with Parker right now. We can just see how he goes, following in behind Matty Skulls just ahead of him. How many spots have you lost, William? You've lost 22 positions in this race off that lap 1 incident. Sheriffs has lost 17, Clark has lost 18, Fisher has lost 13, Greg has lost 19, Minogue's lost 20, Fox has lost 20, McKee has lost 21. Biggest gainer in this race so far, Glennie Corbett up 20 positions gained in this race. Second most gained, Daniel Norris currently up 18 in P26. Yeah, I know, Gary, I know. Maybe we need some blue-white glasses just to help you guys see a little bit better. If I can make that best lap time thing black background with white text, and then so then the green shows up when it is green, and then also like when the purple shows up, it shows up better. I would love if I could do that. That would be good. Maybe I should investigate that. But Parker and Skulls in an intensifying battle. We know that Parker could be a runner for this championship if he can just hold on and have some consistent finishes throughout the rest of the season. If Skulls and Poynton have some poor performances this season, he could be right in there. But you should go to Specsavers. I can read it just fine. Even though I'm right in front of the screen, I can read it just fine. Yeah, Parker, if Skulls and Poynton make any mistakes this season, we know that he will be there like a rabid Wolverine, ready to pounce on it and just take advantage and just attack it and be in that championship fight come the final round of the season. Oh yeah, just the OPSM V8 Veterans. What a fantastic idea for a sponsorship. Poynton, they're up 2 positions. Bit of a, underperforming qualifying session out there tonight. Qualified P8. He's up to P6 already, though, so he has actually got the on-track pace. Currently chasing down the returning Dave Arney. Great to see Dave back in the series. Back out on track as well. He finally landed his chopper. Finally found the helipad that we have been leaving for him at the track every round. Good to see he finally showed up. He's like Ricky Bobby's dad in Talladega Nights. He finally picked up the free tickets that we left him at the gate, and he's here. He's here with us. And having a good run, So let's go on board with him actually. See how he's going. See what he's doing. Over his shoulder at the moment. Down into turn number 1. Yeah, William. Unfortunately, you don't get a say if you can read things depending on their colour, because you are colourblind, because you don't cater to the masses. Get to the chopper. We're on board with the chopper right now. Dave Arney had a good run so far. P5 hasn't lost or gained anything. Top 5 has not changed throughout this race. It's everybody else that has moved and shaked throughout the whole field. We've been waiting for him to come back. and get that Pelican out on track. I'm sure John's been waiting for him to come back, actually, so he had a teammate out on track. But it's good to see him back. Good to see him running around, and it's just it's never the same without the Chopper Boy out there on track. So it's good to see. But we must digress. A couple of little battles that are happening. Randall has started to break away a little bit here from Sipple and Dibatito. Dibatito's finally gotten away from Caperonis, so I believe. Actually, Caperonis has got on the field a little bit here. Where is he? Back down to P12, where he actually started this race. Well, he's red-green colorblind, so he knows that green flag starts the race and red flag stops the race. Todd Duggan runs out a little bit wide, though. I can't believe you think that's green. Toddy Duggan runs a little bit wide there. A little bit of a mistake. Down 3 positions in this race so far. We know he's got the pace, though, and the ability to get back up there, so we'll just have to wait and see if he can make it happen. As mentioned, though, Caperonis, he made up a couple spots. He wasn't to the top 10, but he's now just lost out a little bit here to Weston, Buckland, Dibatito, who've all now made their way up 1 position each after getting past him. Under massive pressure at the moment from Gallen. Although it is early on in this race, lap 10 of 55, we're not even a fifth of the way through. So it could still be a long, long way to go for them here tonight, as unfortunately I've just missed it. Matty Parker's actually made his way past Matthew Scholes now for P2, and he'll be hoping now to chase down Simon Heddersheed, the leader of this race. Could his lead be coming to an end, and could this be yet another Parker master display? Could it be pizza time for Mr. Parker here tonight as he tries to web in the competition and fly up towards the front? It's just terrible Spider-Man references from me, just because his last name is Parker. Scholes, though, had a great run this season. I think you have to talk about how good this championship battle has been between Scholes and Pointy so far. I mean, these guys are super, super tight on points at the moment. This thing is looking more and more likely it's going to go down to the very end, down at Mugello. First time being at that track ever on iRacing for the veterans. And it could lead to an absolutely magnificent finale for Season 18 if both these guys are in this battle. And if Matty Parker can get up there and get into that battle, then they could be in for something special. Let's check, John, if your window banner is correct tonight. It is! Good job. It's correct. Well done. Round of applause for John, everybody. He has the correct window banners here tonight. Oh. Gary, I'm going to nickname Parker. Nosy Parker, perhaps. Matty, though, he's had a great run this season. Missed round 1. Already got a win in his bag this season. We know that he's split 1 pace, and he's just hoping to battle his way back up there. Not the usual... Oh, did not mean to miss there. I do apologise. Not the usual Nova Sim Sports pairing that we're used to seeing in this split. Oh, Caperonis has just disappeared off my screen. What's happened to Jimmy Boy? Oh, he's in the pits, and he's got massive damage. And he's actually... I think he's actually had an incident that's chucked him over the catch fence. I'll see if I can find it for everybody. I don't want us to be able to miss this. Oh, and I don't think it's actually counting it. Oh, no. No. Please, no. Please, no. Please don't tell me that we don't have it. We want this incident on screen. Let me put back to some actual racing. We'll try and line this up. See if this is going to be the correct one. Here we go. Oh, yeah, there goes Jim. There goes Jim. Oh, no, that's a really bad camera angle. Oh, it just gets absolutely sent into the Shadow Realm. Oh, my God. Let's see that again. Just quickly here. Where was it? There it is. So here's Jim. Big slide. Loses it himself. Massive roll. And then bang. In comes Cullen and into the Shadow Realm goes Caperonis. What a shame for him. Back up the front now. Heddersheed leads the way to Parker and Scholes. He does. He went out of the park there. That Sean Cullen just pulled out a Babe Ruth move. not too far from New York. So just paying homage to one of the best to ever do it. And unfortunately for Caperonis, he had to be the ball in that situation. Cullen, though, dropping down massively here. He's got massive damage on the front of that car, as you would expect from such a big hit. And, you know, it was not his fault. He was a sitting duck there, you know, just a passenger pretty much. So was Caperonis, and it was just one of those incidents that occur. Oh, well, not to that extent. Not to that extent. But yeah, that's just, you know, it's one of those incidents that, unfortunate for Sean, that could ruin his race here if he doesn't get a safety car to get that car back out on track and back up onto the lead lap, because he will have to come into the pits now. Although it will count as a compulsory, so he might not be too bad. But yeah, still a long way to go, but not what you want to see, of course. But oh yeah, his race control call after that was so funny. He's gone over the radio and he's gone race control. I just want to let you know that I did not actually tow back to pits. I've been in an incident, put me over the catch fence, and it just sent me back. Like, he got full-on shadow realmed. He must have triggered the... Yeah, he was going 88 miles an hour as he went up into the air, and that triggered the flux capacitor. He's not in the pits in 2024. He's all the way back in 1955 right now. That is where he is. So, Cullen has made it back to the pits without blowing that motor, so it's good for him. He will not need a tow. But Hedesheen still leads the way for us here. Too many chubbies for Jim. Not enough. He wasn't weighed down. He was too light. That's what lifted him into the air, was his lightness. He wasn't heavy enough to stay on the ground and stay grounded. Not enough ballast in the car. That's what made it undulate through that corner. He did very, very well to get that thing into the pits and to not get involved in an incident getting it back to the pits as well. So hats off there to Mr. Shawnee Cullen, who did very, very well. But Hedesheen leading from the front. Top four are all together. Dave Arney a little bit further back. Only position that's changed in that top five is Parker has swapped over with Skulls. A bit of a Matty 1-2 there into second and third position. Poynton just trying to chase them down at the moment. He's not too far away from the back end of Arnie. I have to see how Dave can handle the pressure from Poynton here tonight. We know Dave's had massive pressure from flying his helicopter everywhere, but we'll have to see if Poynton can chop him down like a tree, or if Arnie can handle this right now. It's gone ball with Poynton actually. We'll see how he takes this coming up the hill and getting on the assault, on the pure attack on the back of Dave Arney here. So we come up through the S's. Good run here from the race winner this season, Mark Poynton. Gets out of the toe, interestingly enough. Obviously doesn't want to have to gain too much on Arnie. Maybe hoping for a better position to get the overtake on. That could be some smart racing from him. Or maybe just a mistake. Up through turn number 5. And then down towards the laces here at turn 6. Great little section of track. I love that we included the boot for this layout of circuit, for this choice of Watkins. I think it adds such a dynamic to this track. It just makes it feel, you know, like a little bit, I don't know, there's something about it. It's still flowing. Just adds that, you know, a little bit of length to the track that makes it you know, arguable to do an endurance race around, which I think is really, really good. So, but Poynton just trying to keep up with Arnie right now. We know he's got the pace to do it. And we know that how's the puff of smoke from the Chubby's rear when he disappeared? That was like a click your fingers, and then like the puff of smoke that comes up whenever a magician does a disappearing act. That's what that was. That was literally the most magician's disappearing trick I've ever seen. You can't call him Caperonis anymore. You have to call him Houdini. He's now Jim Houdini from now on, because he's just absolutely disappeared without a reasoning. Well, it had a reasoning. He went into the shadow realm, but just in a blink of an eye. Like, he found that invisible wall. So, I'm not going to change his name on the timing tower. That made split 3 safety car look ordinary. You win, Jim? Hey, that was still bad. That was still bad. Good old Rob Baxter hitting the safety car. Of course, though, Caperon is now back out on track. Brand new car. You know what? Jim is such a great magician. he somehow teleported himself from P12 all the way to down to P40. Like, get out of the way, Houdini. Get out of the way, David Blaine. Caperonis is the next major magician to have a sellout show in Vegas. What a trick. I'm buying tickets for that one. Like, wow. You know what? He didn't just do that. He took my breath away. Like, what other magicians can do that? You know, it's unbelievable. Hedeshid, though, he is the magic man at the moment. He's almost got a spell over this car as he just trickles his way around this circuit. 2.1 seconds is the gap, getting up to around about 2.2 seconds at certain times over Parker and P2. So he's had a nice, strong run so far ahead of Parker. We are coming up to our pit stop period here tonight. We expect him to start pitting around about lap 14, down to probably around about lap 20 or so, maybe a little bit earlier than that. Have to wait and see. Safety car could have a big part to play in that as well. But it's really just gonna depend. Scotty Weston's just lost out to Gallon, but he's just about to get it back. Oh, there's a bit of a knock though, Gallon. Ooh, nice, close, hard racing between these two guys at the moment. That could have ended poorly. And they're side by side down towards turn 1. Good little racing respect between them. There's a heap of battles, Peter, and I tell you what, it's just like last week. So many battles happening, you cannot get them all on screen at once. Like, it's so hard to get that happening. I wish I could. The curve cam now, as you see them roll on through. Gallon, Weston, Goosey, Duggan, and you can see the train in behind them. There's Martin. He leads these boys away. Dunn, Zatira, Stoyles, Barella, Yo, Corbett. McKee trying to have a tight battle here with Grumley. That could have ended poorly. McKee backing out just at the last moment. Grumley gets it done. McKee waiting for his pit stop to get that fast repair happening, get that rear wing back on the car. We saw him stall it off the race start. Unfortunate for him. Back down the order so far at the moment. Still running on strong. Bobby Crow. He's back in this little pack as well as Wayne Shepherd. He was one of the early ones to pit as well. All these guys have already done a pit stop. It has not counted as a compulsory as it was on lap 1. See how that battle was happening with Martin and Dunn. Oh, Dunny! Oh, just gets knocked out of the way there. That could have been disastrous. A little bit of pushing and shoving here. These boys are starting to get feisty. Dunny and Zatira and Stoyles all back in split 3 last season. So 3 of the few split 3 boys who've come up this season currently getting wrestled around by these split 2 regulars of Martin, Barella, and behind them Michael Yo into the pits. Speaking of split 3 promotions, Michael Yo into the pits for his first compulsory pit stop of the night. That was a nice little segue there. Who's actually just being passed by another one of the split 3 promotions, Wayne Shepherd, split 3 champion from last season. So call me a hoverboard salesman because these segues are off the chain. Scotty Weston, he's part of this battle. I tell you what, Scotty, I mean, he's had some previous really, really good runs. I remember the early days of me commentating vets at the start of last year. He was always up around the podium. And I wait for the day he's back up there fighting for podiums, fighting for wins, because he can produce some absolutely fantastic racing on screen. I don't normally show the track map, William, but we'll just have a quick look here. We'll just quickly see where all the trains are. Look at it. It is like a snake going in. You know what? Call this track Woody because there's a snake in my boot right now. You just look at that. Rattling around in the toe of the boot up towards the heel. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane how close this racing is and how big these trains are. But people know it's a long race. They don't want to have to go for dangerous moves early. Some people just do it. And sometimes it pays off for them. So, good to see. Well, you got the clean air, John. So if I know Scotty's probably a guy who would like to work with you. Darren would want to work as well, so would Toddy Duggan. These guys want to try and make their way up into the top 10. As Barella makes his way into the pits now. Into the top 10 is Sipple at the moment, coming up through the S's. He's lost a little bit of ground ahead to Buckland and to Randall as well. As we come round onto the back straight, Dipotito's managed to get past these guys too. None of the top 23 cars have done a compulsory pit stop just yet. Yeah, I mean, it is seriously close. I mean, we saw on the track map how big that train was towards the end of the field. And that just goes to show how close these lap times are and how close this racing can be around this circuit. It's fantastic to see. I think Zandvoort's going to be a similar situation. And if there's a heightened level of racecraft at Zandvoort, it could go on for a fairly long time without an issue. Brian Minogue is into the wall, as well as Mark Houghton. These guys have had a big coming together. Let's check this out. What has happened between them? So they've come through the bus stop. Oh, Minogue's going slow. Houghton wasn't prepared for it. And it's an absolute clobbering. Oh, and then a sitting duck comes on through, unfortunately for them. I believe it was Stephen Greck. It was indeed. Unfortunate for them to have that happen to them. But sitting duck situation. This could be a safety car. What will Visma do? What will race control do? Are any of them stuck out there on track at the moment? Greck has had an incident and he's still there and he's parked it up. So this could be yet another safety car. And this could not have come at a better time for a lot of these drivers. They're going to get now a compulsory pit stop in. All those guys on lap 1, expect them to come in because now they're going to get their free pit stop as well. And you can see them all rolling on in. And out comes Anthony Visma, out safety car driver. So it is the Racecraft Simulations safety car period once again. Whilst these guys take their pit stops, whilst they all get prepared and raring to go to finish off racing here. We're going to have a quick little ad break. We'll be back in just a moment. We are now back on board here with Simon Hennessy, leader of this race, has now come into the pits. He takes his first compulsory pit stop of the night. Brett Taylor still yet to come in. Will he make his way through into the lane shortly when he comes on round? Dave Arney, he has made a compulsory pit stop. He is now provisional P2 at the moment, but it is going to depend on when Hedesheed comes out of the lane. So these guys, they're still waiting to find the safety car. Munro leading this train at the moment. He will get a wave around off this safety car. Well, there's a couple of other drivers as well, being Roy Clark, Jim Caparonis, Daniel Sheriff, Stephen Greck, quite possibly could get one. Mark Houghton, though, I don't think will get one, as the incident may be deemed that he caused it. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Although it's actually saying that Clark is on the lead lap, so he may actually not get a wave around this time by. Hedesheed, though, has actually come out of the pit still in the lead, so he will remain in the lead of this race. And he will now get picked up by the safety car when he comes in. Matty Parker, where has Matty Parker gone? He is all the way down the field. And how has this happened? He's had a really long pit stop, 1 minute and 20 seconds. How has this happened? How has Matty Parker had such a long stop? Has he been carrying damage? I'm just trying to see here when he enters pit lane, just so I can see what's happened. It could be speeding. That could be speeding in pits. Very well could be. Yeah, that would make sense. 40-second stop roughly, plus a 40-second stop and hold. That very well could be a speeding in pit lane. But we'll have to wait and see what happens here. Hedesheed leads the way at the moment. Safety car just ahead of him. We'll go on board with the safety car, and we'll give you just a little moment here just to appreciate the sounds and sights of this car as we go into the gearbox cam. It's just an absolute rumble in the jungle, this car, isn't it? Where did please working tonight? Oh, Gary, continue up your job as a dad joke artist, please. I think we would all appreciate it. No, Matty is down here. They're asking where he went on the timing tower, and he's pretty far back in the field after what we could assume is a speeding in pits penalty laid out in the pits after his stop. Unfortunate for him, he's now far down the order, could be out of contention. Just going to have to see here what happens, how much pace he can pull out of the car and how easy he can make up spots in this race. It's all going to be up to him to try and get through this traffic as safely as possible, but this could very well be him out of contention. Taylor yet to pit as well, so he's not actually taking the compulsory stop. This could be a massive mistake from him. He's actually had to come in now, so that could be that could have been a big mistake there from him. Now, there was a little bit of controversy in the actual race this past Thursday where drivers were actually asking, well, what's the ruling on pitting under safety car? And they were asking, doesn't the rule state you can't pit twice under safety car in one race? Now, the rule states, and it was confirmed last night on the podcast by John Van Ree, the rule actually states you cannot pit twice as a compulsory under the same safety car. So if Brett has just come into the pits, for example, and he's just done his pit stop, if he would have then come around and pit the next lap, then it would not count as a compulsory. So yeah, so just clarifying that, it was, I believe it was 3.14.6 was the number of where it is in the regulations. So yeah, so if Brett were to come around this lap and come back into the pits, his second stop that he would come in for would not count as a compulsory stop. So that's the clarification for that ruling there. So you can pit under safety car twice in the race, but it cannot be under the same safety car, period. So that is where the rules lie, and that is just how the cookie crumbles. But Hedesheed, what a run he's had so far. Led the most laps so far in this race. If he gets to a certain point, he will get the extra point for leading the most laps. Could he be on for a win now? No Parker to put in a challenge at the moment, barring an incident up ahead. Scholes is right there. Poynton's not too far behind. We know Latham's dangerous. Arnie could really get in and, sink his teeth into this on the return race. We know Buckland's the silent assassin. Randall's been up there before. We know Sipple's a former winner, former champion. So is Todd Duggan. And Goosey, former top 3 championship winner and former race winner as well. So the top 10 You know, everyone who is in the top 10 at the moment has finished on the podium at least one time in their racing career here in Vets for Split 2. And this could be a wild finish to this race here tonight. But there's still a long, long way to go. We're not even at the halfway point of this race. Under safety car for this period. We'll then go back under green. And we'll then see how this 3-course meal will serve up for us. We're past the entree stage. We're coming into the main course. What will it serve up here tonight? And will we get any dessert on the table? Safety car pulls away. Header Sheed has control of the field. And it's going to be up to him to control them to whichever point he likes. We saw him go early last time. He went to green through turn 10. Will he hold them off a little bit further? Or will he, as the side of his car says, foot to the fore, fully floored. Nice and early here. Holds them up. Down towards 10. Will he go now? No, he's holding them just a little bit longer. Applies the brakes just a little bit. And Header Sheed has gone on the entry into the final corner. Caught Arnie napping just a little bit there. There's a nice run through the final corner. No one seems to have been caught up at the moment. Poynton deliberately pulls out of the toe. Doesn't want to give an advantage to the car in behind him. As we come down towards through turn number 1. Poynton has now made his way past Peter Latham. And all of a sudden, the championship rivals, Scholes and Poynton, are head-to-head once again. Somehow these two always find themselves on track to have a battle, and I'm absolutely loving it. It is incredible to see. Header Sheed to Arnie, to Scholes, to Poynton, to Latham. That's the 5. Buckland, Randall, Sipple, Duggan, Goosey make up the 10s. Atira, Stoyles, Gallen, Dunn, Healy, that's the 15. And it is a massive race so far. Lap 21 of 55. We are etching closer and closer to the halfway point. Header Sheed, as I mentioned, leading the way. And it's doing the absolute business right now to stay ahead of Arnie. Arnie putting absolutely massive pressure on him right now. What's the run going to be like down towards turn number 8? Not quite close enough to go for anything down the inside. Header Sheed covers nicely. They come on round up towards Kinky, turn number 9. Need to be careful on the throttle through here. There's the bump right there. You saw how the car changed positioning as it went over it. These guys handled it well through turn 10. Nice, fast, short, sharp corner. And then through turn 11. And this battle is intensifying as we go on. Lap 22 of 55. At the end of this lap, it will be the halfway point in this race. Header Sheed covers the inside of the corner. Arnie forced to go the long way round. Wasn't quite willing to do it. This is now dragging Scholes and Poynton into this little fatal 4-way that is happening right now. Latham and Buckland would love to make this a 6-man bout. But Arnie and Header Sheed all over each other right now. Arnie goes from the outside. Header Sheed covers the inside. Arnie going to have to back out of it. He remembered his Mikey this time by, and the PTOs do not get him. This battle is only just heating up. What can these guys cook for us over the course of the coming laps? Is absolutely fantastic to see so far. Now onto the top of Header Sheed's car, looking out the back. The fully floored entry. You just see all of the pressure behind him, but we know that Header Sheed is a strong competitor. We know that he is a talented operator. And that he can handle the pressure. He does not crack under intense pressure. Classic saying, pressure creates diamonds. Well, what does it do to already formed diamonds? That's what you got to say about Header Sheed. What does it do to him? because he is as cool, calm, and collected as he has ever been here tonight. All sorts of assaults coming in from behind. Look at this, Skulls and Pointing. These guys still racing hard. Could we see an unholy alliance from them to try and make their way up the front? It almost would be too unfair for them to do that to the rest of the competitors. Skulls looking for a run here. Not quite close enough to get anything on Arnie ahead of him. He'll be nice and patient right now. He'll just be hoping to keep it in check. In behind, big battle happening at the moment. Gallen, Stoyles, and Dunn. This is the battle for P12. Currently trying to chase down Zatira ahead of them, but these guys are getting into a tightening battle between the three of them. They're not giving anything up. Look at this in the background, actually. Grumley, 21 positions gained. So it's probably 21 positions gained so far in this race. That's the second most. And the only man to do that alongside him, Jason Dunn. Only man to do more than that, Matty McMillan, who's just in behind him. He's up 22 positions gained so far in this race. There it is up on screen. Sorry, it's not classifying anymore, but because technically they actually started behind the safety car, so they both have 21. Matty McMillan and Dunny have the most at 21. Grumley and I think it's just Dunny. I think it's just Grumley who has 20 positions gained at the moment. Seymour come on through, just trying to keep on battling as hard as they can. And you see this, Grumley wants it down the inside of Healy. Healy tries to give him heaps of room, does so, concedes to Grumley, and he now looks to pick off P16 and Ed Fox. Look at this, there's been a change for the lead. Header Sheet has lost out here to these boys. Arnie has gotten past him as Skulls has taken the lead of this race. I'm sorry that we've missed this. I must apologise and see if we can get a replay up on screen if I can find it. What has happened to cause this? So I can't find them too far back. Here it is here. Hold on screen. Oh, there's a massive lock from Header Sheet that's caused this. And Arnie just sneaks on through. Skulls also comes on through. Header Sheet has to concede. Arnie then is leading the way. And then where does Skulls come in to get past him? This is it here. This is where he comes past. Down the straight. Gets the run into the bus stop. Header Sheet, all sorts of pressure in behind them. And then that is where the move gets done for the lead of this race. I do, John. I really do. I was hoping that the penalty sheet would be out by now, which I don't think it is. Let me check. I was hoping the penalty sheet would be out by now, because then I could actually go off the penalty sheet to at least get some incidents, but unfortunately not. That's okay. We roll on and we keep on going as best we can. So it's now Skulls to Arnie to Header Sheet to Pointing to Latham. That's the top 5. Buckland, Randall, Sipple, Duggan, Goosey. That's the 10 as we are now at the halfway point of this race. Lap 24 of... Actually, no, we're not. Oh my God, my math is completely off. We're not at the halfway point just yet. We are a couple laps away from the halfway point as we just trickle on through. I don't know why my brain went, 24 or 23 is half of 55. It's just not. So Skulls starts the next lap. Arnie, though, will actually get an extra point because he actually did technically lead a lap. So Arnie does get the extra point, and Skulls gets an extra point as well. Currently, Header Sheet has led the most laps, so at this point in time, he's getting the extra point for that. But he's under pressure here from Mark Poynton, who wants to try and close that gap up to Scholes. Doesn't want to let Scholes run away with this thing because he knows that it will take another victory and a half to try and close that championship gap before the end of the season. So many battles on track right now. Barella, Fox, Grumley, these guys are in intensifying battle in behind. Fantastic stuff to see. Grumley wants it round the outside of Fox. Fox is going to hold him off. Squeezes him out wide, lets him know, hey, you can't do that, buddy. We know what happened last time when that happened at this track. And Grumley, the smarter man for it, just backs out of it at the last moment. You mean only if they finish in the top 10? Oh, to get the extra point. Well, Arnie's on point now to finish in the top 10. And so Scholes at this point, so they could still get extra point here. And Headersheet can still do it too. Yeah. Fox, Grumley, Barella, McMillan, Healy. That's this little battle happening at the moment. A little bit further ahead as well. Jason Dunn. Matty Stalls just ahead of him. Just quickly, actually, I just thought of this. Just when I mentioned Craig Healy's name, I just remembered our good friend of mine, Peter Gretton, used to say Craig Healy's name when he called the Split 2 action back in 2022. So, big shout out to Peter. Unfortunately, not going to be broadcasting with him anymore for SRW. He stepped away. So, a shame, but I know that Peter is a good and quality commentator, and whatever he does next in his life, I wish him all the best on a personal note. But great to see Healy go out there on track doing well at the moment. But yeah, big shout out there to Peter Gretton. Without him, I probably wouldn't have actually got the opportunity I got to call vets. So big thank you to him. And Matty Stalls in an intensifying battle right now with Jason Dunn as they come through the bus stop. Dunn up 22 positions now in this race. Had a massive run so far, and it is fantastic to see. I tell you what, I called him the secret assassin last week and this week again, and he's only proving my point, ladies and gentlemen. Gary Buckland up 10 positions so far in this race, currently trying to chase down the top 5. And this man, as I mentioned, has just silently made his way through the field patiently. Has done it as Poynton and Headersheet here under an intensifying battle ahead. Latham wants to try and take advantage too. But Buckland has just slowly but surely made his way up the field and is just trying to close this gap. I'm just going to make the comparison here, and this is going to be a good little shout out to anyone who enjoys hard enduro. He is really the Gary Jarvis of vets. Like he just sneaks his way up, and somehow he's at the front of the field by the end of the race. But it's fantastic to see. So Buckland doing a great job, and I think it's he is definitely one of those mainstays of Split 2 who I reckon could be a Split 2 champion in the future if the other drivers are not careful. But Headersheet, Poynton and Latham, these guys battling it out hard. Buckland will just want to try and eat his popcorn and enjoy it too. He will be watching this battle with great gusto and hoping that these guys make a mistake. Let's go on board with him at the moment. Graham Jarvis, sorry John, Graham Jarvis, yeah. I don't know why I said Gary, but yeah, Graham Jarvis, thank you. But yeah, I know who it is. I don't know why I said, you know why it was? It's because it's Gary Buckland. It's Gary Buckland. That's why I said Gary Jarvis. Yeah, Graham Jarvis. But yeah, Gary is just, he's a top competitor. And I know I say that Mark Poynton was one of my favorite drivers to watch in Split 2. He's not on my team. Gary's one of my other favorite drivers to watch just by the way that he just sneaks on through, and it's so fun to watch. It is. Honestly, it just is. And when Gary's on, he is on. And it's such fun viewing as well. But at the moment, he's got this front row seat to what could be one of the most exciting battles we've seen all season between these three drivers just up ahead. Headersheet, Poynton, and Latham in there as well. Arnie and Scholes just up ahead of them. They're not letting the leaders run away. Slips, more like slides. John Gallen, love his smoothness with what he does on that dirt bike. Oh, I mean, Graham is just an absolute machine on a dirt bike. There's some of the stuff he does, some of the things he's done at Erzberg is absolutely insane. Like, just the way that he can just pick his way through a section like Carl's Dinner and somehow make up, 20 minutes on a bike that's in behind him. It's absolutely insane, incredible. But look at this, though. Poynton, Hedesheed, these guys are still battling it out hard. Latham has a front row seat at the moment. Let's go on board with Latham as well. See what he can see in this little battle at the moment. You can look at that under brakes, not much gain. Big gain for Latham, not much for Poynton ahead. But you can look at the run, how smooth both of them are compared to Latham there. They just roll on through. It's just giving us some good little battles at the moment. So we go up into the Parramatta Isuzu Ute Blimp here for split 2. As we roll on round the toe of the boot. Little bit of a gap now starting to form between Arnie and Hedesheed. 1.7 seconds is the gap between them at the moment. As I mentioned, Latham has a nice little front row seat to this battle between Poynton and Hedesheed. But Buckland, as I mentioned, he's just sneaking his way on through at the moment. He is just slowly but surely creeping up on the back of Latham here. And I'm sure Latham knows he's there. I'm sure he can see him in that mirror of his. But it's going to be about whether he can handle the pressure, as we mentioned in the past. And whether he can survive here against Gary. Tell you what, don't count out Randall, Sipple and Duggan and Goosey, in fact, in behind them as well. Those guys will be right there ready to go for it as we go on board here with Shane Randall up the hill. He'll be hoping to close in on this gap up ahead and get in on this battle with them too. There's Sipple in behind him. Duggan and Goosey, those guys under intense pressure at the moment from Zatira. There's been a couple of cuts and bruises on these cars throughout proceedings in this race. We are now past the halfway point, lap 29 of 55. We'll be etching closer and closer to second pit stop territory. We've now gotten past the critical lap. Critical lap was lap 28. So these guys can now get home on a full tank of fuel. As a heap of cars are dropping down the order. I'm not 100% sure why. Oh, and that is why there's been massive contact in behind. That right there is a massive, massive moment. It's included Matty Parker. Let's see if we can get a replay of this. Let's see if we can get this here. Oh, we can see there, Dibatito and Parker in together. Shepherd just a sitting duck. There's, oh, and then just straight driven through. I believe that was Fisher on Norris. And that could have been a whole lot worse than what it already was. That could have been so much worse. Dibatito, Parker, those guys are lucky to keep on driving. Shepherd, what a horrid run for him here. He was doing so well. He made his way up through the field and then just a sitting duck in that one. Nowhere for him to go. No safety car as of yet off of the back of that one. But that was absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. Yeah, Matty, no doubt that stuffed your race. That was a big incident. Shane Reynolds saying not too many off the gas heading into the smoke. Yeah, not too many people who were off throttle there, it appeared. Coming up towards a big bit of smoke there. What a shame though, Matty. That could that just makes it seem more and more unlikely that you'd be able to challenge for that championship. It's, I mean, as I mentioned though, split 2 in the past has been a season of halves, so maybe the second half of this season is going to be incredibly strong for you and you're going to be able to get a lot of race wins over the next 5 races. And that then is going to be able to be you moving up forward and having a good old crack at this championship. But I really feel for you, mate. And I feel for the majority of the other drivers who are involved in that incident as well. A lot of them have now come into the pits. I'm a coming low. Yeah. Oh, we'll have to wait and see, though. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully this can be a little bit similar to how season 14 was, where it was a season of two halves, and second half of this season is just an absolute cracker once again, and we can pump on and have a good strong end to it. Good luck, Spider-Man. Regardless, though, Matty Scholes still leads the way to Dave Arney, Simon Hashid, Mark Poynton, Peter Latham, and Gary Buckland. Just a big incident right there. No safety car as of yet. Heaper cars were involved in that one, as we saw. A couple of cars, though, have now actually taken their second compulsory, including Robert Crow, Peter Vermey, Brett Taylor, Matty Parker forced to do it. Daniel Sheriffs has now been in. Dipatito forced to do it. Shepard forced to do it as well. Norris, I believe, needs a tow. So this will be a safety car, and it is indeed. So, Racecraft Simulations safety car out on track. And this will now see the majority of the field just into the pits. Latham has stayed out. That could be a massive blundle from him here, because he's now going to get pulled in by the safety car. And he's now going to have every single person who is now coming into the pits just roll on past him, because he is actually going to have to wait behind the safety car now. So that is a massive blunder from Peter Latham. This is going to see him go to the back of the field, and it's going to be the same for Michael Yeo. He has not come in either. So Hedesheed, Scholes, Arnie. Hedesheed makes his way out first, and he will now become provisional leader of this race. A nice short stop from him. Scholes is still there. Poynton and Scholes side by side on the exit. Poynton's going to get the run out, and he's now going to be able to make it out past Matthew Scholes. Troy Sipple's had a great stop as well. He'll go provisional P2. Shane Randall's done well to get out provisional P5. Buckland P6. Arnie's had an absolute shocker. He's out in P7 at the moment, but P9 on the road. Michael Yeo, Peter Latham, these boys still need to come into the pits. And this is now a chance for the guys on lap 1 who had their incident to get back onto the lead lap. It is a long way on tyres. It is a long way home on tyres from here. You are correct. 20 odd laps. But it can be done. And you're going to have a couple laps under safety car. So it may not actually be as bad. And it is racing, unfortunately. You're right, John. Close racing, but it can have some nasties. 100%. But yeah, this is an absolute massive fumble here from Latham and Yeo. Latham is going to be... This is out of contention for Latham now. Because unless he can make it... so unless he stays out and there's a safety car within the next few laps, that's it. I mean, this is a... that's race over for Peter Latham. Unfortunately, he can now not contest for this win, being that he will need to come into the pits once again. So Hedesheed is now the provisional leader. That was Daniel Norris was in the chat then, but I completely missed the comment. I do apologise. Don't give away spoilers, John. Don't give away spoilers. But that was a big. Absolutely screwed your race, yeah. And that happens, Daniel. Unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. I believe it was your teammate who just drove straight through you. So I would assume you boys had words after that one. But yeah, just unfortunate. Unfortunate that's happened. That is racing as well. We've had experiences like that in our team, and it's important to kind of obviously you can only take what someone says with a grain of salt, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens next time. Oh, okay, that's what she said, Daniel. Yeah, didn't realise he came. Reese to go in split 3. I'd done 25 laps in the last stint. Did have a safety car to help out. Yeah, I mean, realistically, if you think about it, what's a stint length? Like how long can you go on a stint? Well, if you can make it home from lap 28 on a full tank, that's what 27 laps. on tyres. So that's a full stint. So you should be able to do it, or maybe 28 laps on a stint. You should be able to make it home here on tyres relatively easily, because that will be a full stint on fuel. So it may not be so bad. Yeah, we'll try and get that one. We'll try and get that one, Stephen. Don't worry. Put it on lap 29. Yeah. We'll try and get that on lap 37 as well, Stephen. Lap 37. I'll have to check what lap we're on when we go into the restart. Speaking of John Gallen, though, he is now back P10 at the moment. So he's done well. He's up 10 spots. Biggest gainers so far in this race. Let's check this out just quickly. Stephen Grumley up 25 positions so far. Manny McMillan up 26. Massive gains for those two boys. They are the biggest gainers of this race. And I tell you what, Grumley's done this after starting in the pit lanes. It's been a massive run for him. He's done well, and hats off to you, Stephen. We know you've had some questionable performances from you in the past, but this has been an exceptional run from you here tonight. So got to give you your flowers on this one. A great run and a great consistent run, and that's what we want to see, because we know that you've got these performances in you, and that's all we want. We want some great performances like this, because it makes it fantastic to watch. So massive hats off to you. Got to give you your flowers on that one, mate. So fantastic run. Lap P13 at the moment. Started in the pit lane, up 26 spots. So big hats off to you, and to Matty in behind, up 27. So it's been a great run so far. I believe he had a penalty as to why he actually had to start in the lane. I think that was what it was. I think he had a pit lane start for a penalty on license points, if I'm correct. We are now getting our waiver rounds done. So I do believe Will Munro will now go on to the lead lap for the first time since lap 1 this race. So he is now back onto the lead lap. It only took him 30 odd laps to have it done. So good old shout out to William. I can hear the TV going in the background of him watching the broadcast. So hello, William. But yeah, finally back on the lead lap, so he'll be hoping to have a nice little challenge here. Wayne Shepherd's still in the pits. He'll be hoping just to get to lap 42 to get that 72% mark at the moment. Yeah, Matty, where are you? 36th. I know. Oh my God. I know. What a. As said though, still 5 rounds to go. Anything can happen. John Gelling saying hello, William, from the other room. Stephen Greck, he's out of this one. He's been out since lap 17. Daniel Norris will not get his lap back, unfortunately, as he was the cause of the safety car, unfortunately. So he now does not get his lap back. So Wilmoto now back onto the lead lap. Jason DiBattito is also back on it, as well as Matty Parker, Jim Caparonis, all these guys. So everyone on track other than Daniel is now on the lead lap. Oh yeah, and just to get the background to this, Sheppo was in here for so long, he was able to do his washing and have a beer whilst having his car fixed, because he unfortunately used his fast repair in his second pit stop by accident because he forgot to untick it. So shout out to Sheppo for getting the washing in and a beer in before getting out on track. That's a real alpha move right there. But Latham will lead the way off this restart, but it will not be for long, as both those Racecraft boys will need to pit once again. So it will be Heddersheed who will be the leader of this race after that happens, unless there is an issue. 17 minutes of repairs. Yeah, I know, it was 17 minutes of repairs. I don't know if he takes the full repair, though, because he wants to try and get to lap 42 for the 75% mark. Shane Reynolds saying, who said blokes can't multitask? Hey, that's exactly right. What a multitask. Washing, beers, and sim. That is like the perfect combination to keep your wife happy. To do the washing whilst you're having a beer, whilst you're on the sim as well. Fantastic stuff. Hello from the other side, yeah. I got you now, John. I got you. Glenn, where are you in the stats? Let's have a look here. There you are. Just above Roy Clark. There you are, Glenn. just there. Also, a big shout out goes to Michael Stewart as well and the Stewart family. Of course, they had their annual Balin Stewart run yesterday for Bin the Blade for Balin. So massive shout out to those guys. They had their charity run or charity walk yesterday out on the Sunshine Coast. So I hope if you guys were up there, you were able to get down there. And if you do live up on the Sunshine Coast and you didn't know this was happening, then be sure to go check them out next year and get along for the ride. It looked like it was a good day. I know Glenn and Michael were talking about it in the Discord. So if you're up on the Sunshine Coast or Brisbane or Ipswich or Gold Coast area, make the trip up next year and go and support those guys up there, because what they do for Binning the Blade is a massive tribute to their son, and it's absolutely commendable. So well done to those guys. Gary saying, think of all the housework I do because my wife is a sim racer. Oh, Gary, wow. Has everyone got Bin the Blade on their car? I don't. So everyone used to have Bin the Blade as the rear window banner, which is now West End Motor Group. I don't know if every car has it on their car anymore, but maybe we can bring back having it maybe on the inside of the rear wing. So like if I find a Commodore, so whenever we go onto this camera, we can see it on the inside of the rear wing. So maybe we can do that for the Commodore and also for the Mustang as well, or have it on the rear banner once again. I don't know. But that'd be up to the league, though, to decide what they want to do for that one. So, safety car has pulled away. We're going to get ready for yet another restart here tonight. We'll go on to lap 34 of 55. And we'll have to wait and see what is going to happen out of this one. Latham and Yo, these guys are out of contention now. They're going to still need to pit for a second compulsory. Everyone else who's in contention have taken 2 compulsories. Latham goes early as we come round the final corner to start lap 34 of 55. 22 laps to go in this race. What is going to happen in the contention of this one? Most places gained. Well, currently, Glenn, you've got 16 positions gained so far. 16 positions so far, but the most in this race is currently Matty McMillan with 26. So that's where you are at the moment. So Latham and Yo, look at Hennessy. He wants this down the inside nice and early. He wants to make this clinical as possible. Yo lets him go. He knows that he's off a different strategy. He knows he's out of contention. And Hedesheed is the provisional leader. Will Latham do the same? Sipple, though, wants to try and get past Yo as soon as possible. He's under massive attack from the top 2 in the championship in Scholes and Poynton as we come round the laces of the boot. We come down towards the toe. Oh, Randall's been put into the wall in behind. I think Buckland was involved. I'm sorry, I forgot to restart my event recording after the last incident. I can't get a replay up of it, but Randall's now dropped down a heap of spots. Oh, but there's McMillan in behind, and he's had a little bit of contact there with Buckland, and he's now into the wall. Great job to hold that car there. Great avoidance here from the rest of the field. So unfortunate, though, for Matty. So many positions gained. He had a great run so far, and unfortunately, he is now at the back of the field. Unfortunate for him. Not what you want to see. Scotty Rankin into the chat. Great to have you here, Scotty. But Hedesheed, Latham, Yo, that is the top 3 at the moment. Oh, Scotty, did you do the Daytona 24-hour today or yesterday? So Hedesheed, Latham, Yo, Sipple. Yeah, it didn't look like full-on contact. It looked like a bit of net code from what I saw. So something happens. Oh, Matty, you did the D24 off the back of that. Yeah, I think, and again, that was one of those incidents, although we didn't see it on screen from what I saw the other night. This is one of those racing incidents that just happen, it was nice and close, and you know, close racing can cause incidents, and that's just what's happened there. Look at this though, Sipple getting super frustrated behind Yo right now. He wants to get around him as soon as possible. He is seething at the thought of getting around him. Ultra pressure now for the season 14 Split 2 champion. Scholes and Poynton putting this on hard. One of those two men could become the season 18 champion. And what a difference in environments it's been in the last year. This man right here, Troy Sipple, was battling for a championship 1 year ago. 1 year later, he's getting an assault from the top two in the championship. Steve Grumley, most positions gained. He has now got the most positions gained so far in this race. How many is it? It is 28 positions gained so far. It is an ultra clean and consistent run from Mr. Grumley. One that you could almost call the drive of his life. And after the unfortunate performances this season from him, this is a fantastic change of pace from him. And as I mentioned earlier, you've got to give him his flowers. This is an insane drive from Grumley here tonight. And if he drove like this every week, he would be winning this championship. Mark my words. Sipple has now finally gotten past Yo. Scholes wants to get it done. Not quite close enough just yet. As Poynton just lurks in the background as well. Sipple now will want to try and break away from these guys. As we see Latham and Heddersheet still hard at battle. As I mentioned, Latham out of contention. He still needs to pit. But these guys are still in this battle at the moment. As we come on through the toe of the boot. Happen though between these guys. Yo, he's out of contention too. He's out of sync. He needs to pit. I know he doesn't want to give up the position to these guys, but these guys are on a different strategy. These guys are in contention for a podium here tonight. This could have championship implications. I know it's only 2 points between them for these finishing positions, but those 2 points can make all the difference when the final checkered flag flies at the end of this season. Onto the main straight and onto the start of lap 37. Let's quickly go back, check out some of our other little battles here. John Gallen, he's in an enticing battle with Toddy Duggan and Steve Grumley in behind. He's got his teammate Dave Varney, who's on return to the series, just ahead of him here. Gallen, Duggan, Grumley. Could be an enticing battle. Up the hill we come. How are they going to go on the run down the straight towards the bus stop? Have they got their Mikeys with them? Duggan and Grumley, an insane run from them so far. Grumley on the drive of his life. Through the bus stop we go. Just dancing the cars through the corner. Duggan had a great run. He's now closing the gap up onto the back of Gallen as we come round towards the laces here of the boot. Down through turn 6. We'll have to see here if these Pelicans start to work together or if Arnie wants to battle his teammate. Up and around we go. Down the straight we come. And it's been a great run from all these guys so far. Under brakes we go. Duggan had a big gain there on that one there. How's the run going to be out of turn number 8? Looks pretty good for all of them. And Michael Yo's dropping positions hard right now. Scholes has now gotten around him and he's now holding up Mark Poynton here. Oh, Gallen has to avoid his teammate there. Yo is becoming a rolling roadblock at the moment. As we come round turn 10, Arnie and Gallen side by side. Oh, and there's contact between the teammates. The Pelicans have come together in an on-beach battle royale between them. Gallen loses out. Arnie forced into the pit lane off the back of it. And on the return, the chopper has taken out Gallen on the final corner. Looked to be some net code there. That's a massive shame for Gallen. That now promotes Toddy Duggan up to P7. Steve Grumley now up into P8 of this race. and he has now officially gone into the 30s. 30 positions gained for Steve Grumley. And say what you will about previous performances, but this drive is one of the best we have ever seen in Split 2 of Vets. Absolutely unbelievable. This is what we need week in and week out. I reckon you can make the argument that Grumley should start from the pits every week if he's having performances like this, because this is absolutely off the rails from him. Michael Yeo, as I said, has now lost out to Point and Skulls. I don't even know what the most positions gained record is. That might be the record. I tell you what though, that is the most positions gained that I've seen since I started calling Vets for Split 2. I can almost guarantee that. You can go and check every other broadcast. I'll put my neck on the line to say that is a fact, and I believe that is the most positions gained ever. If he finishes in that position, and I'm saying someone who's actually finished in the position for Split 2, ladder from 40th to 4th. So that would be the current overall record for Vets, which is 36 positions. Skulls doing well at the moment. P4 is down 2 spots. Oh, it was Charlotte. Oh, okay. Look at this though. Skulls wants it down the inside of Sipple. Sipple lets him have it. Skulls gets it done. He now goes provisional P2, does the championship leader. An almost passing of the torch moment from the season 14 champion to the current season 18 champion-elect. Header sheet is far down the road from him though. Latham, as I mentioned, out of contention. So he is not a factor in this one. Although he could be if he makes a mistake. But Header sheet had a great run so far. You can't take anything away from him. He will now officially get a point for leading the most laps in this race. He's done so well. He's led from the front. He started on pole and he's kept that car there all day. Absolutely fantastic to see from the Kiwi. Poynton's done well. He's up 3. Duggan up 6. That'll become 7 when Yo comes into the pits, and it'll become 8 when Latham comes into the pits as well. Buckland up 7, as I mentioned, the silent assassin, although he wasn't very silent when he assassinated Shane Randall and Matt McMillan. Sorry, Gary. Darren Goosey up 14. Jason Dunn up 24 positions at the moment. Had a great run. Shane Randall unfortunately down 6. He'll be hoping though just to get back into the 10s. Atira's up 13. Bush is up 13. Hanson's up 13. That is the top 15 of this race, as Goosey is now in an enticing battle with Jason Dunn up ahead. Dunn's now gotten around him here. Just be over there eating your Vindaloo. Hey, Scott, I've got a good question for you to ask Mez. If you are the Jim Ross and I am the Michael Cole, what wrestling commentator would he be as a Vets commentator? I need you to ask him that question on Thursday night and just get his reaction for that one, please. Damon Fisher has jumped to... Oh, he's in the pits at the moment. So Damon Fisher into the pits. It said he jumped to pits. I think it might have just been that was because he drove in. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. If you need me to remind you, I'll message you the question. Dave Varney lost out absolutely massively off the back of that incident that we saw. Daniel Norris is still dropping spots. Wayne Shepherd's out there just trying to get to that 75% mark. Stephen Greck is out of this race, unfortunately, at the back end of the field. Starting a podcast and I'm not invited? I'm so upset, Scott. You've absolutely hurt my feelings on that one, mate. You really have. That is just, I am horrified that has not happened. I knew you would. Yeah, what is the pod, Scott? What is the podcast? Everyone else can check it out. No idea yet. Maybe that should be the title. Maybe it should be no idea yet, but something. Maybe that should be the title of the podcast. Hey, I'm starting the podcast trend in vets. I started one and everyone else wants one. Yeah, it is competition for me. It's fine though. Mine can be the breakfast show. Theirs can be the after hours show. How to hit the safety car safely. But yeah, back onto the race. Lap 41 of 55. Header sheet on Latham. Latham, as I mentioned, still needs to pit. Scholes is provisional P2 at the moment. So the top two will actually not have changed positions by the end of this one if they stay the way they are. Wayne Shepherd has unfortunately hit the fence once again. As I mentioned, he is just trying to get to lap 42 for himself. He's currently on lap 32 in this race. He's got 10 to go and he will make 75% and get those points that he needs. Great nights with Mez and Rankin. That's what you need. That's what you need. It's how you start and end your week. Just late nights with Mez and Rankin. Oh, the internet dropped out. Oh, okay. I got you. Wow, that's incredibly unfortunate there, Damon. David Kirby offers this plea of self-advice for all. Hashtag be less shit. Does he live by that motto, Scott, or what? Because if he doesn't live by it, then why should anybody else? I've already done it. It's too late. I've already done it. You've done it. You've done it. You shouldn't have put it in there if you didn't want me to read it. He even has a shirt that says, that's impressive. That's impressive. Why do we not have, like, obviously we have the vets merch, but why don't we have like other merch? So, like, I know we have like the Gunter merch and stuff like that. I reckon everyone should just try and get a little bit of merch in there. Maybe like shirts with all the team logos on them or something. That'd be kind of cool. Pretty hard to get ordered, but that'd be kind of cool. Yes, vets merch for season 20. Yes. Be less shit, be more old. That's what the saying should be for season 20, especially if season 20 is a double-length season, as I think it should be. If you want to hear more about that, go check out the pod. I think it was 4 episodes ago, I spoke about that, about how season 20 should be a double-length season, 20 races, one race at one track for every single season of vets. Yes, that's the motto. That's what it should be. But Header Sheed still leads the way. 4.8 seconds is now the gap back to Matthew Scholes. Though the interval's saying something different, that's because it's between the second and third driver. Latham is now into the pits. He now gives in. Scholes takes P2. Sipple will now take P3, but he's under massive pressure from Mark Poynton. Pointing down the inside, the newest driver for Frog Leap Juice Racing. He gets it done and he moves up onto the podium. The top two in this championship suddenly, once again, are together on track, and it is game on to the end of this race. 13 laps to go this time by. So it goes Header Sheet to Scholes, to Poynton, to Sipple, to Duggan. That's the top 5. Grumley, Dunn, Goosey, Randall, Zatera. That is the 10. And what a run this has been. Top 6 drivers in this race are former winners in Split 2. 2 of them are former champions. Another one of the drivers in the top 10, Darren Goosey, former winner. Randall, former podium finisher. So there is all and everything to play for here tonight. It's the halfway point of the season. Could it be the catalyst point for someone to make a late charge? Unfortunate for Matty Parker. He's out of contention here tonight for a top 10 finish unless something goes his way. Unless there is a miraculous Matty Parker moment to come. we may not see it happen. So it is looking more and more likely that it's going to be a two-way dance between Scholes and Poynton. We come on to start lap 44. We're going to take a quick ad break over the course of this lap, and then we're going to come back with 10 laps to go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're also going to turn up the sound for you once the ads have rolled round so you can hear these cars at full noise. We'll be back shortly. Great there just to get all the sights and sounds of Watkins Glen for that lap. On board there were both Mark Poynton and Matty Scholes, the championship leaders at the moment. But the race leader right now is Simon Heddersheet. He'll cross the line and there will be 10 laps to go here, ladies and gentlemen, at Watkins Glen, if I could get the words out properly, I swear. We've done 250 Ks roughly. There's about 50 kilometers to go, 10 laps. Heddersheet just has to survive for that long. He is just doing his darndest right now. He put the car on pole. He's had a great run in this race. We know that a couple other drivers have led the way, but he's led it the most. And it's looking like his race to win. Very Phillip Island-esque of season 14 for him here. Just a dominating performance, and one that you could expect him to make. Roy Clark's had a big incident on the main straight. We see him going slow. See what he's done here to make this happen. So he's come around the final corner. What's he done here? Oh, he's just lost it on the curb and then straight into the wall, and that is steering damage on that Mustang. Not what you want to see from him. Unfortunate for him, and he'll now drop a heap of spots. But we will now just quickly check out how Matty Parker is going. He's now back up to P18. He's had a great run back from the field after an unfortunate stop-go penalty in the pits for speeding in the lane. What could have been of the end of this race if he was still in contention. But regardless, Nova Sim Sports still have got a driver up there, and it is Toddy Duggan, who is trying to hold off the hardest of chargers right now, Stephen Grumley, who is currently up 32 positions in this race. No one has ever come close to that in Split 2, to my knowledge, at least since I started broadcasting. And if he finishes in that position or any higher, then it would be a record for him. I'm sure it's at least a record since Split 3 came in. Toddy is doing the business right now. He's doing very well. We know that he's got these performances in him, as I mentioned, former champion. And he's just trying to get back to that level, as is Troy Sipple. It's ironic, really, that Scholes and Poynton are in this battle together for the championship, and they're on track at the moment together. Well, if you look back a year ago at season 14, who was in that championship battle? It was Troy Sipple and it was Todd Duggan, and they are back on track together again. And I believe we are under Racecraft Simulations safety car. So, didn't even realize it was going to be out on track. So we are indeed under safety car. Who is stopped on track to cause this? It's not Norris. It wasn't Clark. He came into the pits. Not Yo, not Arnie, not Sheriffs. Was it Shepard? It was Wayne Shepard, I believe. He is stuck on track. Yes, he is. So that is why we are now under Racecraft Simulations. Sorry, Racecraft Simulations safety car. And suddenly, the whole field is now bunched up, and it is going to be a sprint to the end. Can you believe how close this is now going to be? Hedesheed had an absolutely mega lead in this race. The race was won for him. The race was won. All of a sudden, Hedesheed is now going to be under ultra assault from the top two in the championship in Scholes and Poynton. The two who have been the measuring stick, the pecking order this season. This now brings Sipple back into contention, as well as Duggan. Don't count out Grumley. He's been on fire all day. And this is going to be... Can we make it Uber Assault? It is an Uber Assault, and then I can Uber Eats an Assault each week. Yeah, it's an Uber Assault. We need to get Uber as a sponsor, so it is an Uber Assault. But don't count out Grumley right now. He's had an absolutely fantastic performance in this race. He's hungry to make up more and more positions. He's got Dunny in behind him, who's up who is up 28 positions in this race, and who has had just as much of an impressive performance. Glenn Corbett is up 28 positions as well. So those are our three big movers in this race. But Grumley is the one who has had the most impressive of performances right now to go from P last to P6 over the course of this race. It's been an absolutely phenomenal effort from him. Toddy Duggan, don't count him out. Troy Sipple, if he's on for these last 8 or so laps, don't count him out. Poynton and Scholes shouldn't even need to say anything. These two boys have proved this season why they are the top two in Split 2 and why they will likely go up to Split 1 next season. And then Hedesheed. We've seen him control his temper. We've seen him control the pressure in the past. Now is crunch time for him. Final couple of laps is going to be full push for these top drivers. Both of the Pecky's cars come through of Fisher and Norris. I believe those are our waiver rounds for this race. There should not be another safety car after this one. We should go green this time by, as the waiver rounds have now been completed. So strap in your seats, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a massive end to this race. And this could possibly be race of the season for Split 2. I know Split 1 said that theirs was their race of the season. This is heating up to be race of the season for Split 2. It's all going to come down to this final sprint. Who's going to take advantage? Who is going to put all the pressure on? And who is going to crack under it like a hot piece of glass in the sun? How many laps have we got now? Well, we'll see if the safety car comes in, because then I'll take away the safety car graphic. I unfortunately can't see how many laps left now because of the safety car graphic. We're currently an hour and a half into the race. So I believe we're on lap 48. So when they cross the line, it will be 7 laps to go. 7 laps to go when they cross the line. Put your picks in. Who you think's going to take this one out in the chat? Will it be Heddersheed, Scholes, or Poyton? Or could we see some magic from Sipple, Duggan, and Grumley in behind? We've already seen some magic in tonight from Jim Houdini, a.k.a. Jim Caparonis, who made his car disappear from P12 and put it all the way down in P40 by sending it into the Shadow Realm over the catch fence. But could we see some more Houdini magic here tonight from them? Scholes, Rankin says he's a big Scholes fan. Give me a Scholes win. He's had a couple this season already. Could be on for another one if Heddersheed can't keep it together. We know Poynton is ready for another win this season. He needs to get another win if he wants to keep the pressure on Scholes ahead of him in the championship. Heddersheed has missed a couple of rounds, so realistically he is in the same boat as Parker. He needs those two boys to make some mistakes in the latter half of the season, and he needs to get some good finishes to be sure to be in the battle at the end. Safety car leads them now onto the back straight. Will he pull away? Anthony Visma at the wheel. And he does indeed. The roar of the Merc pulls away from the rest of the field. So it'll be Heddersheed for the 3rd time tonight who will lead them away off a safety car restart. And he will have control of the field round to the start-finish line. Scholes and Poynton, top 2 in the championship. They are together once again, so they will be battling it out hard. We'll come across the line. We'll start lap 49 of 55 with 7 laps to go. It's all to play for right now. Everyone is bunched up. Everyone can make it home on fuel. They can make it home on tyres. That safety car would have just eased the pain a little bit as Heddersheed goes early. Scholes and Poynton lose a little bit of time to him. They were caught out just slightly from him here. But as we come down the straight for the restart, it looks nice and clean so far. Let's head up to the Parramatta Isuzu Ute Blimp and see if there's anything that happens through turn 1. Looks pretty clean at the moment from most of the drivers. Looking pretty good. As we come up through the S's now, Heddersheed already has a gap of half a second. Poynton and Scholes are only 1.5 tenths behind each other. Poynton wants this run. Scholes is going to cover the inside. Poynton breaks early. He knows he can't do it round the outside there. Gallen's just lost out on some positions in behind him here, but this top 3 have already broken away from Sipple out of P4 as he is under immense pressure from Toddy Duggan and Steve Grumley in behind him here. It's like a blast from the past. It's season 14 versus season 18. Who is going to get the advantage between these guys? We've got 2 battles happening at the same time on track. You'll love to see it. Scholes holds up Poynton. Heddersheed breaks further away. Poynton wants this, but doesn't want to take too many risks. Oh, we saw Scholes there just have a little bit of a wiggle as he came through there. Speaking of wiggles, big shout out to Greg the Yellow Wiggle. This is the 4th year anniversary of when he had his surprise cardiac arrest. So glad that we did not lose that man on this day. So big shout out goes to him and the rest of the Wiggles as well. There's no big red car out on track right now. Currently it's led by the big fully loaded car of Simon Hedesheet as we come on to lap 50 of 55. 6 laps to go. And the gap is out to over a second now. Matty Stall's forced to come into the pits. That now takes him out of contention for a top 10 or top 15. Scholes and Poynton. Massive championship implications between them. There might only be a couple of points, but as I mentioned, that could be all the difference come season's end, as these two boys have been so close in championship contention all season. Through the bus stop we come. Duggan wants it round the outside of Sipple. It was ugly, but he wrestles it through and gets it up to P4. Sipple now under immense pressure from Grumley in behind. We know Grumley's been ultra racy all night. All of these guys have got the same age on their tyres. They all came in lap 30. So Grumley now wants to get his 33rd position gain in this race if he can get past Sipple, and it'll be his first top 5 since coming back in the split 2. It's been a great battle throughout this whole race. Second and third, Scholes and Poynton. We know these two guys are going to battle it out hard. But it's whether one of them wants to risk it for the biscuit or they just want to concede and take the position that they've currently got. You got to think about end of championship. You got to think about, hey, is it worth ruining my race or ruining the other car's race, copping a penalty, and then not even getting some worthy points, or would I rather just take P3 or P2 in this one? Look at this, Grumley wants it from Sipple. As I mentioned, he's like a rabid Wolverine right now. As we see Sipple covering the inside. Grumley wants this up the hill. He's not quite close enough to get it done just yet. We'll go on board with him now. Can Steve Grumley continue this run of massive performance throughout this race? I do apologise. It'll actually be it will be the 33rd position gained. Don't know why I said it wouldn't. The timing tower actually says the correct stats. But Grumley loses time through the pits, through the bus stop. So obviously the bus was late today for him on that one. He'll be hoping to make up the time though over the rest of the journey. 5 laps to go in this one. Scotty Weston is dropping positions hard and he's gone into the wall out at the bus stop. Car is still moving, so we definitely don't have another safety car. But it just takes him out of contention. Michael Yeo though, under immense pressure right now. It was 3 wide through the laces, then it turned down to 2. Look at this massive train currently headed by Gary Buckland, the silent assassin, who's down positions thanks to a penalty earlier in the race. So he now leads this little train of cars who are all battling for P23 at the moment. What a race it has been. If you haven't been watching from the start, ladies and gentlemen, once you've finished, be sure to go and watch the bit that you missed, because it has been on track, impact action all the way. Lap 52 of 55. Hedesheet looks to complete this one, and he's just trying to console the lead he's got. He's lost a little bit of time on the cars in behind. It's now down under a second. The exit out of the first corner will not help either, and Scholes is looking for a massive run up the S's down towards the bus stop. This little 3-way dance that we've got going at the moment is just starting to repressurize. They are just hoping to keep it as consistent and quick as possible. Hedesheet just needs to stay in front. All he needs to do is defend. Scholes needs to defend and attack to the 2 cars ahead, or to the car ahead and the car behind him. And it could not be a more tough task to ask of him. He has to do it against Hedesheet and against Poynton, possibly 2 of the best drivers out on the grid. Latham at the moment, I mentioned he'd be out of contention. He's down in P28, so that strategy play on the second to last safety car has really not paid off for him. In fact, he's ended up behind yourself, William, who actually had the crash on lap 1 and ended up going 2 laps down. So that is how poor that strategy play was and how much of a blunder it was. A shame for Peter, but a gain for everyone else who got the position ahead of him. Back up the front though, and we've got these 2 little triple threat matches happening between Heddersheed, Skulls and Poynton. Duggan, Sipple and Grumley in the background as well. There we see them. Duggan's now started to break away, but Grumley is still putting immense pressure on Sipple right now. P5. We're going to start lap 53. There'll be 3 laps to go. And Grumley has not got much time to get this move done. So Tira drops out just a little bit there. He's blinking just slightly. Hopefully he can hang on for this one just to stay inside the top 10. You see Shane Randall's worked his way back up into the top 10 after an unfortunate incident with Gary Buckland. He's done well to make up those spots. You see, as I mentioned, he's another one of those old mate and sons, chubby done silent assassins. He's back into the top 10 as well. He's done immensely well today. His race not done from this point though. He's just hoping to continue on. 28 positions gained so far. But it's Grumley that we've been speaking about. It's Sipple. It's Duggan. That's the battle for P4. Poynton, Skulls, Heddersheed. That's the battle for P1. This right here is immensely pressurized. Lorne McKee has had an incident out at turn 2. And he's blocking the track. I don't think it'll be a safety car. I think they'll just let him tow from this one. Because why would you? We'll go back up the front for a moment here. Let's just quickly check our track map just to show you what these trains are looking like. And as I mentioned, it's a real Toy Story moment right now. There is a snake in my boot. As you can see, just all the cars packed up behind each other. A couple of stragglers and daggers around in behind. But right now we are rattling towards the end. Oh, big slide from Heddersheed through the final corner, and Poynton hits the wall as well. But this could be a massive run from Skulls here down towards turn 1 if he can take advantage. As we see Skulls, he's now closed that gap right up to 2.6 seconds. Someone's just come out of the pits. I believe it may be Wayne Shepherd. It is indeed. As I mentioned, he's just trying to get to 75% mark. Just to let you guys know, he's currently on lap 40, so he's only got 2 laps to go to get it there. Actually, no, it might be 1 lap to go. I think you have to go lap 41. Skulls wants him out of the way. He doesn't want to have anything hold him up. Shepherd does the right thing, gets off the track, lets the field go. He only wants to get to the next lap just to make points in this race. Skulls is hungry for this. Heddersheed could be even hungrier. And Poynton, I think, is just licking his lips at the prospect of a contact between P1 and 2. Duggan still has a big gap over Sipple. Grumley still hungry in behind. These are quality laps. You're exactly right, Shane. Scafey would say these are quality laps. And you know what? He would have said that Heddersheed was right out sideways through the final corner. He would say that a lot. He would say that. He would say props a lot right now. But this battle is just, it is not even coming to an end just yet. We've got 3 corners until the final lap of this race. I know we're not checking out any other battles in the background, but that's because this one right here is going all the way to the end. Thanks for the inside slip there, Mr. Grumley. Look at this, Heddersheed round the final corner. Leads the way, leads them on to the final lap of this race. 54 of 55. Sipple still leads Grumley onto the final lap. Sipple wants to cover the inside line. Grumley could have the run here. What's going to happen down towards turn 1? Forced to go round the outside. Looks for the cutback on Sipple. And just makes it look educational. He's showing him how it's done. Grumley gets up to P5. And that is 33 positions gained for Steve Grumley. What a run this has been for him. Sipple will be spitting at himself that he let that happen. There's still a whole lap to go though, but Sipple is not close enough to have a run just yet. Let's head back up the front as Heddersheed and Skull. This is a 1-2 battle for the win of this race. Poynton's lurking in behind. He'll take advantage if something happens between these two. Skull's looking for the switchback. Heddersheed pushing ultra hard right now. You could see the back end of the car swing out. Hedesheed round the toe of the boot. Skulls just putting all the pressure on him. You see them both. They are pushing so hard right now. Poynton gets out of the toe. He does not want to be a factor in this. Hedesheed, how does he go through turn 8? Doesn't run too wide. Skulls still running with him. Up through 9. Needs to be careful of the bump. All three appear to be. Look at the slide from him right out sideways. Hedesheed is pushing ultra hard right now. He wants this win more than anything, I think, in his life. Immense pressure from Skulls. Immense pressure from Poynton. But at the end of the day, it's the pole sitter. It's Simon Hedesheed who takes victory out at Watkins Glen. 300 Ks, 55 laps. And it's the pole sitter who finishes out in P1. Second place, Matthew Skulls, who started P2. And Poynton finishes 5 spots up from where he started in P3. Grumley, what a run from him. 33 spots up from where he started. Finishes in the top 5. What a return to form from him. Hopefully, this is a sign of things to come, and these can be the performances that we see from you, Steve. And I say this because I believe that these performances are absolutely fantastic, and this is what I want to see from you. This is what I hope to see from you week in and week out. So please continue that. Duggan P4, Sipple P5, Dunny 28 spots up, P7. Goosey up 16 to P8, Randall in P9, Zatira makes up the top 10. What an absolute Royal Rumble we have just had around Watkins Glen. An immense race, an immense end. Best race of the season so far for Split 2. I'm not going to claim it's the best so far for all 3 splits because I don't have the cojones for that one. But what a race. Hedesheed deservingly takes victory here tonight. What a run it was. What a race it was. And man, you cannot deny that this guy had more pressure on him than a whole boiler room does in the bottom of an industrial complex. What a run from this man. P1 to P1, leads the most laps, gets the extra point for leading a lap, and wins it as well. Maximum points coming Hedesheed's way. Fastest lap of the race as well. What a run it was. What a run it was. It was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Man, oh man. Well, if the top 3, Hedesheed, Skulls, and Poynton, if you are available, come and have a chat to me. Hop into the green room or hop into one of the other chat rooms so then I can drag you in. But what a race this has been. Absolutely unbelievable. You got to give your flowers to everyone who did well out there tonight. From how we started to how we ended, it was a pure roller coaster of emotions. And if you want to show someone what Vets is all about, then show them this race. Please show them this race because it had absolutely everything. Regardless, we will show our final provisional results for here tonight. For Logitech G, round number 5 of the V8 of Racekraft Simulations V8 Veterans Season 18 out at Watkins Glen. Simon Hedesheed takes victory for Fully Served United, with Matthew Skulls finishing out of P2 for 801 Sim Racing. He just etches his championship rival Mark Poynton for Frog Leap Juice Racing home, who finishes out of P3. Toddy Duggan will finish out of P4 for Nova Sim Sports. Steve Grumley, in the drive of his life, comes home out of P5 for SLS Racing. Troy Sipple for Quantum P Performance Racing will finish out of P6, with Jason Dunn finishing out of P7 here tonight, with, again, his race of his life here tonight. Darren Goosey, one of the silent assassins from Old Mate and Sons, finishes out of P8, with Shane Randall coming home out of P9 for Simrig's Infinity Motorsport. Brendan Zatira then, after a great run, will come home out of P10. It's a great run there from P2 in the Split 3 Championship last season, with Marty Hansen coming home out of P11 for East West Racing GMK Logistics. Ed Fox then comes home out of P12 for Player 1 Racing, with Brian Minogue coming home out of P13. Matty Parker, what a run home for him it was, making up so many positions after losing out from a penalty in the pits. He'll finish out of P14 for Nova Sim Sports, so it's not so bad for Maddie in the end. Glenn Corbett then finishes out a P15 here tonight, with Jeremy Bush coming home at a P16. Peter Vermey will then finish at a P17 for 1MLT Racing, with Richard Barella coming home at a P18 for WK&P Sim Sports. It'll then be Robert Crow, who had a great run himself. He came from last on the grid. He actually started in the last position on the grid. He came up and finished at a P19 for Simrigs Infinity Motorsports, so a great run from him. And then Brett Taylor from VMM Esports will make up the top 20. Craig Healy then finishes out a P21 here tonight, with John Gallen finishing out a P22. Gary Buckler will then come home at a P23 after an unfortunate incident leading to a penalty for him late in the race. Will Munro will then come home after a great recovery drive into P24, just ahead of Peter Latham out of P25. What would have been, if for not, that pit stop blunder for him. Matt McMillan then finishes out a P26 here tonight, with Sean Cullen finishing out a P27, just ahead of Shadow Racing's Michael Yeo at a P28. Daniel Sheriffs then finishes out a P29 here tonight, with Dave Arney making up the top 30 on his return to the series. Jim Caparonis, Mr. Houdini, Mr. David Blaine, who made his car disappear out of P12, he finishes P31 here tonight from a good recovery. Damon Fisher will finish out a P32 here tonight, ahead of Scotty Weston in P33, with Todd Martin finishing out a P34 for Quantum Peaks Performance Racing. Matty Stalls will then finish out a P35 ahead of Accelerate Sim Racing's Lorne McKee out of P36, with Daniel Norris finishing out a P37 here tonight. Roy Clark then finishes out a P38, with Wayne Shepherd just making it to 75%, so he will finish out a P39, with our non-finishers being Jason DiBattito, Stephen Greck, and Mark Houghton. A big thank you goes out to our race controllers here tonight, Anthony Visma and Greg Favell. Great to have you in there. Great to have you supported the series. We've got Mark Point. We've got Simon Heddersheet in there. Do we have Matthew Scholes anywhere? No, we don't. That's fine. We'll drag both Mark and Simon in. Mr. Mark Point, we will start with you. Oh, what a run that was, sir. I mean, starting a little bit below than where we might have expected you to start that race, but still just picking your way through the field, doing what you do best, and pointing that car forward and coming home in P3 just behind Matty. You kept the pressure on him all night, but he managed to almost transfer that pressure ahead of him to P1 in Heddersheet. How was that race for you, mate? Because I'm sure 300Ks around there did not feel short in such an intense battle for so long.
Yeah, thanks, Hamish. Yeah, it was a pretty tough race. Obviously, the length of the race, and I didn't do myself any favors in qualifying. I don't know why, but it just didn't get the laps I wanted to, and then just focused on race pace and making sure I didn't do anything silly, keeping myself out of trouble, and just sort of setting consistent lap times. It was getting pretty close towards the end with Matthew, but was sort of thinking championship and didn't want to do anything silly to ruin my race or his.
Yeah, mate, that was kind of, well, I mean, that's even how I called it as well. That's what I thought the thought process would be, is better just to concede and keep P3 and think championship than think race, because it's very easy to lose that P3 by having an incident with him, and then suddenly you're getting a penalty for an incident, and you're both missing out on points. So it's good to have that good, respectful, clean racing from the both of you. This championship's really coming down to the wire between the both of you. I mean, he's gotten the better of you the last couple of weeks. Are you looking forward to the last half of this season, being that we're going to be having almost a swapping interchange of European track, US, European, US, European, and ending it all at a brand new track for us here at Vets with Mugello? We got the brand new build of Zandvoort this week. First time we've been there since the rebuild. We got Mugello ending out the season. How are you feeling coming into the final half of this season and really putting that pressure on Matty and taking that battle to the end?
Feeling good. Looking forward to the last half of the season. It's been good. Other than be consistent and continue, to drive, I guess, smart, and put some pressure on Matt. I'm not sure what else I can do. He's pretty quick. He doesn't make mistakes. He's hard to pass when you do actually get an opportunity to possibly, pass him. He's very consistent. So I guess it's going to come down to maybe some strategy might come into play, or maybe a mistake or two. But yeah, he doesn't tend to make too many of those, and credit to Simon too. He drove fantastically, and he didn't make really make a mistake all race. Perfect strategy, perfectly executed by him. So big congratulations to both Simon and Matthew.
I mean, I've said previously when Simon was last in Split 2 that he was kind of the measuring stick for strategists, because he made some absolutely wild strategy plays, but they've always paid off. And I recall back, I even mentioned it in here, Phillip Island, which was round 2 of season 14, he managed to make his way from P4 to P1 in one pit stop just by having a slightly different strategy to the rest of the field. And it paid off for him then, and it's paid off for him today. But your strong run this season's paid off for you so far, Mark. It's a great finish for you here tonight at a P3. Let us know who's giving you and the boys at Frog Leap Juice Racing the support out there. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well, mate, you are more than welcome to do so.
Yeah, mate. Just obviously a shout out to yourself, mate. It's really appreciated what you do with the broadcast and the podcast. The league, race control as well. Big shout out to everybody behind the scenes there. And as far as I go, a shout out to Frog Leap Juiced Racing. We've got Juiced Energy, Simrigs, Racecraft, Sudspeed Gloves, and the Pet Door Company.
Still reading off that list, are we, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I walked into 2 rooms today, mate, and couldn't remember why I walked in there. So I definitely need a list.
It's all right, mate. Fair play to you. Fair play on the race, and congratulations once again on P3. Best of luck this week out at Zandvoort.
Thanks very much, Hamish. Cheers.
Thanks, mate. Well, Simon, back again, getting to chat to me after another win here in Vets. Been a little bit of a stint between drinks for you here in victories for Split 2, but that was because you spent 3 seasons away from me. What a run from you. You started out well, put the car on pole, and then, well, the pressure just builded all the way to the end, and we saw a couple of little mistakes there towards the end, but you managed to catch them out before they turned into anything worse. But what a run it was, and it's ended up with yet another win for you.
Yeah, g'day, Hamish. That was that was pretty intense. It's nice to be back in NZ and actually running on my own sim. I spent a lot of time in Australia on a borrowed one, and it's just nice to have a bit of time to practice. And I think that's the difference. And I've had a couple of horrible seasons, not really having the time to put any practice in, coming in the day before, and then there's been some new tracks of late which I really haven't had any time to sort out. So it's this is one of my favourite tracks, and I managed to get a good quali lap in. I actually blew the first lap. I had to reset and had one chance. I knew that was going to be critical because it is fairly difficult to pass. You have to have a reasonable sort of an advantage to get past around here. But look, it's just getting so hard in Vets. Split 1 was tough, and I had a pretty poor couple of seasons, and I just chose not to qualify for that this time. Just getting tangled up with the same people, and it's just probably a reflection of my lack of practice. But I mean, this split's just as hard. So you got your Matt and Mark are obviously the pace setters in this split this season, and I'm pretty sure they're going to do well in Split 1 next season. And it's just good to know that I can still mix it up there because I haven't been up here for a while. So it was a good run. Enjoyed it. It was pretty stressful at the end there. I made a mistake early on. I actually double downshifted. That's when I lost positions, and I was lucky I didn't loop it. But strategy, you talked about strategy at the start where I did well at Phillip Island. Honestly, it was just a fluke. Normally, strategy is what puts me out of these races, and I did it again at Phillip Island first race. I was sitting there behind, I think it was behind Matt, so I was in podium position. I thought I'd dive in and grab fresher tyres, but it was all about track position. I couldn't get back up there after that. So tonight I spent a little bit more time. Like I said, I'm on holiday. I got a bit more time to think about it and worked out all the different scenarios. And I think that second pit stop, when the safety car was called, was fairly late, or someone called for a tow, and everyone behind me dived into the pits, and I didn't, because I knew I'd beat the safety car out. So I gained a lap there that I was going to have a little more fuel at the end, and of course they all got tangled up. People were driving slow, and I was managed to fill the car right up. Whereas I think some of them would have tried to undercut each other with fuel. And on that next stop, I jumped them quite easily. So got a bit lucky there, and I think at the end there, it was 2 hours late. It's pretty late here in NZ, finishing at 1 o'clock in the morning. The old screens were starting to get a bit blurry, and it was pretty hard having Matt and Mark chasing me down there. It was I'm glad I got it home.
Well, I mean, I think under strong duress from the cars in behind, you did well to not crack under that pressure, not crack under that late night finish for you. I know it's late for you at the moment, being over in NZ, so I'll try not to take up too much of your time. You know, I hope that this can be a continued run for you, because you know, you've always been one of those drivers that have been like, I'd love to see how head of sheet goes. And when you're in split one, I'd check in and be like, oh, how's Simon going? Because watching you from that first season that I called and up until now, you've been such a great driver to watch race. And I think this is just a real crowning moment for you for having such a strong finish here tonight. So it was a fully deserved victory. And, you know, to be able to put the car on pole with 1 lap is a phenomenal effort already, having the most laps led, fastest lap of the race. You take home 4 points tonight, mate. Let us know who's giving you support out there. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well? Because after such a long stint between drinks and because it is so late for you, we'll try and get that out of the way for you as quickly as possible.
No worries. Yeah, like I said, it's just great to be to show that I can still do it. Obviously, a shout out to V8 Vets. It's just easily the best league. I do a couple of others, but the organisation is fantastic. You got Logitech G, Nova Sim Sports, Play One Sim Gear, and Parramatta Isuzu, and of course yourself, Hamish, for your race calls, and I guess Scott and Co for their race calls, Split 1, and John Van Ree in Split 3. I mean, none of this would happen without you guys doing that. It makes it far more exciting. And of course, Fully Flawed, which is my son's business, and AutoServe, which is Brody Scott, who's in our team as well. And be nice to have him racing back in the vets. He has done it before, but it's just a little bit too late here in NZ for him at the moment.
Well, mate, once again, congratulations on P1. Congratulations on pole. 4 points to you. Best of luck out at Zandvoort this week, and thanks for coming and have a chat to me so late.
Thanks for the race call, mate. Awesome.
Thanks,
Cheers.
mate. Appreciate it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have seen a sneaky Matthew Scholes in a voice chat with Mark Poynton. Dare I go and see if he will talk to me, since he's not come to talk to me all season? Just quickly here, dare I just go and sneak down there and just see if he'll have a chat to me? Surely. Yeah, you know, let's go do it. Let's go do it. Let's quickly go do it. I've just snuck in here, boys, because I saw Matt was in here. Matt, do you want to have a chat to me for the broadcast, mate, since you finished P2?
Yeah, I can't get into any of it.
Oh, that's all right, mate. We'll do it in here quickly.
That's all right.
A great finish for you for P2, mate. I'm sure you and Mark were just chatting about how such a strong race that was. You've been ducking me all season to come and have a chat, but I'm glad you finally need to have a chat to me now. What a great run it's been for you, mate. Obviously, you and Mark, you race clean and consistent together, and there's a lot of respect there. How was your feelings on Thursday night's race, and how's your feelings been on the first half of this season with such a tight championship battle?
Yeah, for Thursday night, we were just talking about it, and I was saying, you know, Mark was saying he wasn't real confident. I was a bit the same, so I sort of went into the whole thing thinking I was going to preserve tyres. So during the whole start of that race, in the middle of it, all I was trying to do was look after tyres, and it sort of ended up working towards the end there, because we had that little 9-lap dash towards the finish. But yeah, I can't complain the way the whole season's sort of gone so far. We've, touch wood, been lucky and avoided all the incidents, and that's sort of why myself and Mark found ourselves at the top. It's literally just been essentially avoiding all major incidents, because anyone in the top 10's got pace at any one day. So it's just about how safe you can keep it.
Well, man, I mean, how did you feel that race went on Thursday night? Obviously, you were putting a heap of pressure on Simon towards the end there. We saw he made a couple of mistakes, and you lost out a little bit at certain points. Then you managed to make your way back. how was that run down towards the end there? And, you know, how was those final 5 or so laps with that top 2 battle happening?
Yeah, it was good fun. You could tell Simon, I don't know whether he was struggling with tyres, he was struggling with something, and you could tell that it was, you know, that last sort of lap or lap and a half, the opportunities were there, but a little bit of preserving myself was sort of like, do I or don't I? Do I want to end up in the fence with him? Or so I sort of ended up erring on the side of caution and just kept the nose in front of Mark and, you know, take the extra couple of points whenever I can get them.
I mean, I guess that's kind of the smart thing to do. Although he did mention that he was struggling with tiredness, being that it was 1 a.m. for him by the end of that race. But let us know, mate, who's giving you the support out there, as well as the support to 801 Sim Racing, and anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well. As I'll let you and Mark go back to your conversation that I've just really interrupted.
Yeah, no, it's all good, mate. Thanks. Yeah, a little thanks to Nashy. Myself and Nash just started this little 801 up just for this season for us in the vets. You know, we sort of run together in other team over the last few years, and we just sort of thought, you know, the two of us are the only ones out of the other team that are eligible for vets, so we chucked this one together, and yeah, hopefully we can keep pushing forward with it. Little shout out to Phoenix Radiators, Bliss Homes, and M&S Interiors for us, mate. Thank you. And obviously thank yourself for your broadcast, and thanks everyone for putting on the racing. It's really good series, to be honest.
So, was there any point that you thought maybe you should join a team in vets, or was it kind of just, oh, we'll be with each other, or are you kind of hoping to join a team in vets in future, or what's kind of your thought process for that one?
We'll just kick around together for now and see where it ends up. Yeah, for everything else, we run around with the right boys, or I do personally anyway, with the sort of enduros and stuff on iRacing. But yeah, just none of the other boys are eligible, so myself and Nash sort of, yeah, we'll be happy just to run together and see where it ends up.
Well, mate, it's looking more and more likely that you'll be running together in Split 1 next season, barring an absolute barn burner in the last half of this season. You had a great run so far, so's Mark as well. Best of luck to you, mate, at Zandvoort next week, and best of luck to the both of you for the rest of the season. Thanks for having a chat with me, Matt, and yeah, best of luck.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Appreciate it. Well, good to quickly just go and finally talk to Matthew Scholes there. We'll have to figure out why some drivers can't get into the green room. Thank you, Scott, for dragging everyone up into the green room as well. Really appreciate it, mate. Really appreciate everyone else's time for coming in here and viewing here tonight. That brings an end to our broadcast here tonight for the Racecraft Simulations V8 Veterans Season 18. This has been the Logitech G round number 5. My brain's already gone. Round number 5 from Watkins Glen. My brain's gone. It's so late at the moment. But thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for your support. I'll see you guys next time out when we go to Zandvoort for round number 6. The new build of Zandvoort will be live next Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. New time slot for Split 2. Appreciate your time. Yeah, I know the green room's locked. We'll have to figure it out with all the admins why some drivers can't get in there. We appreciate your time. Appreciate you joining us. We've got one more rollout of ads for Racecraft Simulations, and then it will all be over. But I've been your commentator, Hamish Munro. This has been the Racecraft Simulations V8 Veterans Season 18, Logitech G, round number 5 from Watkins Glen. And until next time, bye for now.